Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome to Monday afternoon. I'm very happy to be here with you. I got down a big AI rabbit hole since the last time we spoke this morning. If you haven't seen the morning show, go back. We did a kind of a rundown of the future of wackiness, and I would like to say that unlike a lot of my creative friends who like I do, love sci-fi or write or engage in the creation of sci-fi, lab rats forever, and I am optimistic, quite optimistic actually, about the future of technology, extraordinarily so, like super fun Star Trek, brrr, you're healed kind of stuff like that. I'm very excited about that. I do not think that the dystopian future that everyone warns us about is in any way inevitable. I don't delude myself into thinking that there are bad actors in the world that will try to take technology and make the worst of it. I mean, look at Genghis Khan and arrows. But that said, it doesn't keep me up at night. And as I go through sort of what people are doing with AI or what they're attempting to do with AI, let me tell you something. The urban pacification aspects in the most peaceful and pleasure-oriented way possible that I can imagine is coming via AI. If you want to picture a world where the awful among us can be, I guess, either detained or simply isolated in their own boring fantasy world where they get to do their worst and just in a little room separate from the rest of us forever and ever and ever, with tubes hooked up to feed them and let them pee. That's on the way, and they won't miss the rest of us at all. Those folks, not at all. So, what was the website for recipes? That was Chef GPT. You might have heard of Chat GPT. We've now got Chef GPT. And before we jump in to today's wonderful, good Lord, what the fuck is going on in the world level of programming, I would like to say hi to our chat. I'll bring it up here while people are settling in. Sorry, I'm a moment late, but I literally just, so much of this is just fascinating. Let me bring you guys. Hi, everybody. Yes, just your head and a tank. That's it. I can't. At certain points, you're like, if you've delved into the simulation hypothesis at all, which is like the closest thing to high I've ever been, is just going down a deep hole about that. Hold on, gives you mid-journey style AI zero. Oh, Playground AI. Thank you so much, Adam. I will post that in my chat as well. Yes, I saw that one. I haven't delved into it, but awesome. Hi, hello, good to see you. Welcome. So I'm good. How the heck am I? I'm hecka good. So this it's going to be fascinating. Hold on real quick. I want to bring something up. Give me a second. I don't know if I can do it on here because I definitely am. Let's see. Reload. Too many redirects. You're a jerk. Okay. Never mind. All right. Being weird. Okay, they're having a hard time. So let's go. There's lots to jump into. We got a lot of stuff to cover. Welcome. Obviously, Trump. I'm really campaigning. The real campaigning hill. I'm a real campaigning man. Basically, is what we have to look forward to there. Of course, Junior's weird twitchy fit with his little bunny fuck yous make a bit of a frantic interpretive dance appearance from what I've seen. Let's see. Hold on. Greg Kelly is really miserable as usual, but as is his whole Pelosi fantasy fell apart. So super good. I hope we have time. So super good. And then I gotta say, what what? Honestly, the all due respect, but what the fuck is going on with Kyle Kalinski's head? When did this happen? When did Miami Vice cosplay become a thing? For real? I don't know. Is the future of faux-aggressives on the internet in ecstasy sales? It's so weird. All right. Anyways, we'll get to that because we love the in-serious takes on serious things. Let's see if can we jump this forward? There we go. So I don't know why, but RAV or wherever the fuck had a real hard time bringing maybe it was his own campaign, which is why it looked so shitty. But here we go. Trump in Columbia, South Carolina, flanked, and you know how I mean that, by Lindsey Graham and others. But here we go. I think this is the shorter one, so we don't. I mean, it's the same shit anyways. So no, I'm not gonna. Don't feel the need to text anything. And hi, chat room. Love you guys. Get on with it. Hold on. Ding, 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 ding. There he is. Okay, now. Oh yeah. Hold on one second. I was not hearing him properly, and I don't know why. So I've got to change my headphones to the proper ones. Where'd you go? I think this is it. Yeah.
Thank you, Governor. Wow. Wow. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow. It's so good. Wow. A little room in a little place. But don't worry. Giant rallies are definitely coming. They just couldn't put it together that quickly.
Friends. Thank you.
Yes, we know. It's close associates and sycophants. There's no one left. And by the way, not friends. The man has no friends.
Thank you, everybody. What a group. What a group. A lot of people.
What a lot of people here. People there. Pretty people.
People outside, they want to be inside. Should we?
This is him, like, first of all, shitty little crowd, so he's got to pretend there's millions outside beating down the door.
We let them come in? I don't think so, right?
Again, fuck you, Maga, you poor sons of bitches. See you when I can yammer at you in the cold and rain while you stand all day waiting to get in. Should we let him in? Fuck him. Anyways.
Thank you all very much, and Russell, thank you.
What is that asshole smiling about? Yeah, finally. I saw him outside. Boy, they're gross. Did you see them? They're wearing like American flag shorts and fucking Trump is my idol shirts and it's gross.
You, what a job you've done so quickly. It's been fantastic.
So quickly because we don't plan anything. We're the kind of campaign that shows strategy by having none.
Fantastic. Thank you. We love you too, and I'm proud to accept your endorsement, and I'm thrilled to be back in the great state of South Carolina. We won it twice. We won it twice by record numbers, and it's just a real honor.
Yes, technically they recorded the numbers.
It's an incredible place, as the famous saying goes.
Saying goes. This is going to be painful. Is he just farting right out of the gap? What does it do?
We won it twice by record numbers, and it's just a real honor. It's an incredible place. As the famous saying goes, South Carolina picks presidents. You've heard that a little bit before, right?
No. In your case, it did not.
2016, this state did exactly that, giving...
Right, maybe because you didn't go back in 2020. That's why you got fucked. Sorry.
Yes, 44 out of 46 counties, and I can't wait because the answer is we're going to get 46 this time. I think we're going to get all 46. I have a feeling.
Yeah, you bet, buddy.
Here today to announce our campaign's incredible...
He picks his nose during this? Something serious? I saw a picture of him picking his nose. I don't need to see it, but holy smokes.
South Carolina leadership team headed by Governor McMaster. What a man. What a man. Thank you very much. And Peggy, thank you.
McMaster looks like a Harvey Korman character.
We've been friends for almost from the minute we met. He wanted
Almost from the minute we met. I was like, ooh. And then like, he likes you. Oh.
to endorse me, and I wanted to take his endorsement. I didn't have the endorsement from the person that for a period of time was a little bit above him, and that worked out very well for me, didn't it, huh? But, Governor, you've
Jesus.
done an incredible job, and congratulations on your
Yeah,
recent
yeah.
very big record victory. Thank you very much, and Peggy.
Yes, so unlike your experience just a couple of years ago, right, Trump?
And a friend of mine for a long time. We don't always agree, but that's okay too. But he's a great guy, a great politician actually, and a terrific
Which, is that not an insult in Trump world?
person who loves your state, Senator Lindsey Graham. Thank you, Lindsey. Thank you. And many others. We're going to introduce you in a little while. I just
Very exciting. We'll skip that part because I don't give a fuck.
want to say to so many patriots with us this afternoon, including South Carolina First Lady Peggy McMaster. Thank you, Peggy. What you had to put up with during these campaigns, what you had to put up with, and you did. You're a professional and a great, great person. Thank you very much, Peggy. We appreciate it.
Jesus, more like filler words. Peggy, I don't know who the fuck you are. I've been around you a lot, and your husband yammers, blah, 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 my wife. And when, quite frankly, when my wife talks, so when other people say my wife, I go, what a fucking beta, and just shut off. I don't even know what he says about you, but it's wonderful, and we're so glad to have you.
Appreciate it. South Carolina Senate President Thomas Alexander. Thank you very much. Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate it. House Speaker Merle Smith. Thank you, Merle.
The only fun part of him doing the names is, A, he's never seen them before, and the pronunciation sneaks up on him. Merle Smith. Like there's an R next to an L and an E. I'm not certain. Swing.
Campaign will be about the future. This campaign will be about issues. Joe Biden has put America on the fast track to ruin and destruction.
Ba, 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 ba.
We will ensure that he does not receive 4 more years. We had a tremendous period of time. We had a tremendous thing happening just 2.5 years ago. I used to
Yes, a tremendous thing. It was called COVID, and it killed over 1 million Americans and injured many others. And you responded to it by blaming China and then selling them all our pork, corn, soybeans, and beef.
say 4 years ago, then 3 years ago, then 2 years, and now it's all of a sudden it's catching. So
Wait. What? Does he go? I think he was initially counting like how long it will be till the election or how long it's been since the last one. And it seems like he reverses course in the middle.
on the fast track to ruin and destruction, and we will ensure that he does not receive 4 more years. We had a tremendous period of time. We had a tremendous thing happening just 2.5 years ago. I used to say 4 years ago, then 3 years ago, then 2 years, and now it's all of a sudden it's catching.
All right. No. Apparently, we're going back in time. Dun, 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 dun. Gotta go back in time.
So 2.5 years.
So, with the help of McMaster and Peggy, Perry, Peanut, I'll call you Peanut, McMaster, and 1.21 gigawatts, we are going to be president again. By we, I mean me. I learned that from the Queen. She liked me better than anyone.
You just take a look at what we did where this country was greatest economy ever,
No.
largest tax cuts in the history of our country,
No.
largest regulation cuts in the history of our country,
No.
Space Force, right to try. We did so many things. Strongest border, by the way. How
Until you built the wall. I don't know why that happened. I blame the wall.
important is that? Strongest border in history.
And then you built the wall and it started going to shit. It's weird.
We built hundreds and hundreds of miles of wall.
Wall.
We got Mexico to give us 28,000 soldiers. Free.
Yeah, there are big gaps in it, and apparently they're being spackled shut by Mexican soldiers standing on each other's shoulders. Mexican shoulders, making up for the gaps or whatever. They just We had a big get 8 more of those guys over here. Yeah, you guys stand here. For how long? Forever.
Free of charge, no cost, and we had the greatest border in history and among the lowest years ever recorded for drugs, and now the drugs are literally 10 times more than they were just 2 years ago.
Well, the ones that are getting caught. We're stopping more drugs than all right.
What's happening to our country? The 2024 election is our one shot to save our country, and we need a leader who is ready.
Oh, so we could have just blown off 2020 altogether? I thought that wasn't that the one shot? I thought that was the one shot. But the next last shot can wait 4 fucking years?
To do that on day one, we need a fighter who can stand up to the left, who can stand up to the swamp, stand up to the media, stand up to the deep state. Am I allowed to say stand up to the rhinos too? I think we can say that.
I think we can say that, although there are a lot of rhinos here. I've called most of the people here rhinos. I don't even know what it means, but they apparently, these monkeys clap when I do it, you dumb sons of...
Stand up to the globalists and China and stand up for America. And
dude, you can barely walk.
That's what we do. We stand up for America, and that's why we...
Is that what you're doing? You're standing up for America? When you're, I guess, yeah, technically when you're putting.
Had polls today come out, the best polls I think I've ever had, actually.
Yes, losing was the greatest thing that ever happened to you. You should write a book. How to Win Through Losing. The Art of the Lose.
And people are seeing, and...
Seriously, for fuck's sake. No. It's not, he's not getting the best polls of his life. For fuck's sake.
They're liking us, but they're also not liking what's taking place in our country. To change the whole system.
Yes, I assume that any dissatisfaction with anything that isn't me is a vote for me, even if people don't vote for me.
System, you need a president who can take on the whole system.
Yes, all of it. Yes, you can kill the entire functioning U.S. government. We need a guy who took a swing and missed, but promises he'll do better next time, boss.
And a president that can win. And we did great. Last time we got 12 million more votes than we did the time before.
Because of mail-in voting, which you want to stop. What do you, dude? If half of what he wants to impart on the voting systems, and put in place, if all these people are trying to help him, actually help him, he's fucked. Where do you think those extra votes came from? The rest of the people in the country who finally voted because it wasn't fucking, they weren't having to ice skate uphill.
Before somebody interviewed me recently.
Who were they? Somebody? Just somebody.
What was the difference between 2020 and 20?
Well, we won very big, but we did better the second time. I agree, because you lost and went away. Also, this is like a year ago, 2 years ago. Somebody, like, we've heard this story. Somebody asked me, how'd you do? What's the difference between 16 and 20? And he's like, we did better the second time. He's been saying that for fucking 2 years. But somebody interviewed me recently, and I don't change my answers.
2016, I said the difference is we did much better in 2020. We did. Got many millions of more votes. But we got to be careful on election day.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. I guess that's your one day to vote.
Or as they call it now, election period, because these election days have gone into a long time. Another crazy thing that's happened.
Everybody there who's an actual donor and not just a sycophant or an elected politician themselves is going, motherfucker, will you stop telling everybody to vote on one fucking day?
There's only one president who has ever challenged the entire establishment in Washington. And with your vote next year, we will.
Lincoln?
We'll do it again, and I will do it again. This will not be my campaign. This is going to be our campaign. I just left New Hampshire.
And I told them the same thing. They don't like you, but I don't mind.
And the relationship we have with that group of incredible patriots is unbelievable. Thousands and thousands of people.
Not like this dingy little crowd. And weird that you have a lot more people in this state, and I'm in this fucked up little ballroom. Nice going, Lindsay.
Coming from just a plane to the site, waving American flags, so proud of our country and so discouraged by what's happened.
Yes, people always wave the flag of their country when they're discouraged. It's just like a warning.
Together we will complete the unfinished business of making America great again. You know, when they hit Maga, oh, Maga, 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 that means make America great again. We're trying to explain that to a couple of Democrats. They don't quite get it.
Jesus Christ. We know what it spells, fucko. Oh, this is pitiful.
Just as we did 2 years ago.
We also, like, it doesn't stand for that at all. This motherfucker wanted negative interest rates to stave off a self-inflicted recession from an unpaid-for tax break that was unnecessary. And the only reason he didn't have to explain how he'd fucked the economy up was because he got rid of the pandemic response team and fucked up COVID even worse. So it covered. It's like he cut someone's wrist, but then blew their hand off with a shotgun, and everybody was like, "Oh, I don't know, the shotgun. Are we gonna nitpick about a slit wrist?"
We're going to stop
a weird analogy, but you go on.
the invasion on our border. That's an invasion.
It says invasion in the thing. When I'm looking at the glassy thing, it says invasion.
Southern border. We went from
somebody just went,
the best to, I think, the worst in the world, Henry. I think it's the worst ever, because no third world country would allow that to happen.
Okay, by the way, anybody who's ever seen like videos about like helping refugees has seen exactly that. Has seen millions of people crossing as refugees into other countries, all over Africa, all over the Middle East, Afghanistan and Pakistan and Iran. Like, it's not even close to true. And it'd be one thing if he was just rando dumb fuck being interviewed by, Jordan or somebody from The Daily Show. But for Christ's sake, he was president for 4 years. Do you know how much all right, you guys know how much I know about the earth right now, just from daily doing this and my own interest. Can you imagine the fucking intelligence, and I mean in terms of material intelligence, I would have it stuck in my dome forever if I'd have been president for 4 fucking years and had a presidential daily brief every day? Imagine all that stuff in your hard drive. How do you, and still he's talking about it like, the room was round. What the fuck?
Be there with sticks and stones if they had to be.
If they had to be. So we should get down there with guns because we're rich.
But nothing like that's ever. This is an invasion that nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I think the real number could be 15 million people, not
yeah, just triple it. None of the numbers sound big enough because nobody's pulling their hair out.
4 or 5 million people. They have no idea what the number is. And they're coming from prison.
Yes, and since they can't pinpoint the exact number, I'll just make up the biggest, most fucking ridiculous number ever.
And they're coming from mental...
There's 400 million... Oh, yes, this is the mental...
institutions. And
yeah, it wasn't... And that's the other thing, too. He's added mental institutions lately because it wasn't enough that they're entering their prisons, because it occurred to everyone that criminals going to crime, and that why would they bother if you just let them out? Like, why the fuck would I go all the way to the United States to murder? So you let me out, you might have I was murdering them, and I would like to pick up where I left off. It's just...
And they're coming from a lot of bad places that it's going to cause us a lot of problems, and we have to get that straightened out. We have to get it straightened out fast, and we have to remove a lot of people very, very fast.
Yeah, so that's what he's running on roundups.
Because we can't have what they're sending. They're sending people that are killers, murderers. They're sending rapists, and they're sending, frankly, terrorists, or terrorists are coming on their own, and we can't...
Yeah, that's the worst. When the terrorists do it of their own, just decide. Like, they don't even have to be sent by somebody. They're just like, think I'll go to America.
Allow this to happen. So the...
Yeah, which, by the way, a terrorist who hates America has never been inclined to do over time.
Illegal border crossers are going to be sent straight back home. Those bad ones, especially.
Yes, especially the bad ones, because Oh, the word home really, I think, is something they
Actually,
understand.
they're going to go fast.
So fast. I don't know who they are. We'll start with the babies and work our way up.
You know, when we were doing this 2.5 years ago, we sent thousands of...
Oh, this is the MS-13 back to fucking whatever, Guatemala,
you could call
Honduras.
it MS-13. You could call it some of the gangs, the gang from hell.
Yeah, you could call it brown people who look sketchy. You could call it migrant workers who I get a weird vibe off of them. You could call them banditos.
These are not nice people. And we sent them back home by the thousands, and they didn't want to take them. They said, no, we're not. And the Obama
Oh, this bullshit. Same stuff.
administration couldn't get them back. They said, sir, we can't get them back. They won't accept them. I said, how much money do we pay them? So we pay them $750 million a year. Tell them we're not paying them anything anymore. I got a call the next morning from the 3 presidents of those 3 particular countries. Sir, there must be a misunderstanding. We'd love to have them back. We'd love to have them back. You were there. You were. They would love to have them.
Lindsey Graham was not there. No one is backing him up in this fucking story. You saw me. You're the other dude who is a little. I get you mixed up with Rick Grinnell all the
Back.
time.
We'll take all the MS-13 you have, but please keep paying. So we sent them back, but we still didn't give them the money. But now they made up for it because they give far more than what we were doing, Henry.
Jesus, no. Like, this is just fucking gibberish.
We're going to end the free reign of violent.
And honestly, all of this, can I just say, is all in that dude's look at Trump. Like, you can just see him going, this is good. This is not good. This is bad. I don't know what the... Like, can you imagine everybody in there who knows they're a career politician, maybe even has a law degree, worked, studied, wasn't born with a fucking silver spoon up their ass, is all sitting here listening to this fucking Gibbon like, talk about how smart he is, and they're like, all right, okay, you're Machiavellian. You're Machiavelli, you survive and the czar gets hit. Just count your fucking blessings.
Criminals in Democrat-run cities and keep dangerous repeat offenders locked up in jail where they belong. We're going to stop the left-wing radical racists. And
by the way, this asshole thought he was going to run against Joe Biden's crime bill in 2020. He thinks he's going to do it now he's going to run for we bring back the crime bill.
Perverts who are trying to indoctrinate our youth. And we're going to get their Marxist hands off of our children.
Their Marxist hands. So it's so your kid's is being groomed for sex by an adult, and your concern is the political. Maybe that's why there's so many Republicans that think they can get away with fucking kids. Isn't that guy? Why is that guy putting your kid in a van? That's okay. He's a businessman like me.
We're going to defeat the cult of gender ideology and reaffirm that God created 2 genders called men and women.
Yes, he called them men and women. Well, he made the man first, and then he made the woman out of his rib and stuff like that. And that's it. I mean, that's all the science you need, I think. We're going to call it men and ribbon. That's what I'm calling women from now on. You guys are ribbons. What a dickhead. It's just that I could actually... I could actually see the word ribbon getting stuck in his head and going, is that it? That's something we're doing now? Yeah, he is so fucking lost. Look at his face. Ugh.
We're not going to allow men to play in women's sports. And by so doing, you know what happens. We're going to save the dignity of women, and we're going to save...
Yeah, you're going to save the dignity of women. no greater person to save the dignity.
Women's sports itself. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We're going to bust up the censorship regime and bring back free speech again. We're going to find the deep state.
Yes, apparently child porn will be available in every social media platform, and calls to violence will not be policed in any way. Terroristic threats he's gonna expunge the law against terroristic threats.
State actors who have burrowed into government, fire them and escort.
Sorry, bird.
Free speech again. We're going to find the deep state actors who have burrowed into government. Fire them and escort them from federal buildings, and it'll go very quickly.
Everything's going to happen so fucking quickly. Notice he never says, and I hear COVID is doing terrible things in China right now, but and it's over here a little bit, but as soon as I get here, we will get rid of it very, very quickly. If there's a pandemic, we will handle it.
We're going to stop the appalling weaponization of our justice system. There's never been a justice system like this. It's all investigation. I've been going through it for 7 years. 7 years. We want his taxes. They get the taxes. That's the end of that. Nothing. They were very good. They said
his accountant just went to jail. The company's being shut down. They just had to pay multi-million-dollar fines. They're going to lose their license in New York. It's not done. They just got it. It's thousands of pages, and they're already like, okay, there's a crime on page 8. We can shut the whole fucking thing down.
He's very wealthy, but he didn't pay a lot of tax. But you know what we did? We created tremendous jobs because that incentivized us to pay and create tremendous.
No, he didn't. He's not a real developer. He's an investment developer. It's other people's money. They were building those buildings anyways. He just bought into projects.
Tremendous amounts of jobs. And look, we have a country. It's all about it.
Eric has 12. Ivanka was not only an employee, but also a paid consultant. See? One person, 2 jobs. It's a miracle.
You have to incentivize people, and they're taking the incentives away. We have to be very careful.
Yes, you and I have no more incentive to be driven or work or anything. We're just sitting in our big, cushy government lounger that they sent us with a tube of carbohydrates going right into our stomach, bypassing our mouth entirely with a chewing apparatus so we can just watch TV, chew constantly, never get bored, and evacuate ourselves into a vacuum tube in the bottom of the chair. I mean, what more do you need? I don't know why anybody strives anymore.
Careful, but we have a weaponized justice system like this country has never seen before. The FBI went to Twitter and they said the laptop is Russian misinformation. Think of it, Russian misinformation.
No, disinformation. Misinformation is a mistake. Disinformation is on purpose. Oh, what I know. He's obviously read everything there. Quote. Go ahead.
And they said...
By the way, everybody keeps saying, nice freeze frame. He looks like an asshole. Every time I freeze him, everything looks like, oh.
Don't say anything. This is just before the election. Then the election comes and goes, and they said, well, I guess we got that one wrong, right? They all got it wrong. It's a disgrace. Just that alone.
Wait, hold on. What?
Said the laptop is Russian misinformation. Think of it, Russian misinformation. And they said, just don't do anything. Don't say anything. This is just before the election. Then the election comes and goes, and they said, well, I guess we got that one wrong, right? They all got it wrong. It's a disgrace. Just that alone was such mess.
Okay, there is no Hunter Biden laptop. Feel free to at me. We've covered it many times. This is fucking tired.
Cheating. The pollsters say it made it.
Oh, yeah, this is... If they'd have known about Hunter Biden being a crack addict, they wouldn't have voted for his dad. Right.
Difference of 17 points. We didn't need 17 points.
By the way, that's something Rasmussen told him in person, and everybody's been spouting it ever since. Not even fucking close to true. It's fucking absurd. It's like, if that was true, then why wasn't there a red wave after the fact? Because it's all out there now. It's been on. It's almost all they talk about.
We didn't need almost anything. We actually needed nothing. And we're going to restore election.
Yeah, we didn't need those 17%, but we did lose, but we didn't need it because we won.
Integrity. People have to believe in our elections. They have to believe in elections, and they have to believe in borders. We need borders, and we need fair elections and free elections. And if you don't have those two things, you don't have a country. Most importantly, we're going to reverse every single crisis, calamity, and disaster that Joe Biden has created and bring safety, prosperity, and prestige back to America. And I will say, we're going to put America first, as I did just 2.5 years ago. America was first.
I used to say 4 years ago, and then 3, and then 2, and now we're going forward, and maybe 2 more, and 3.
And there's never been a period of time like it.
There's never been a period of time. Period of time seems to be, if you've noticed, the sticking phrase. It's not good. Every time he says period of time, that dude looks at him funny. It's because I mean, everybody has gap words when they're looking for something to say, or they feel like if they stop talking, people will lose interest, I guess. But that's, he has over the years, he's had a few of them, but over this, and period of time used to be a thing off in the future, if you'll remember. In a very short period of time, his taxes will come out in a very short, but usually about 2 weeks, that whole story. Now it's just this weird, and it might be a thing of age. Maybe people get to where, your years seem to squash together into a lump. I think that's the governor of South Carolina.
Every day for the United States, though, is April Fool's Day. This just occurred to me yesterday. Because I see what's happening, I say, what's going on? What's happening? What's wrong? It's like April Fools, right?
No.
We have open borders when they should be closed. April Fool's Day, right?
Oh my God, he thinks this is like a winning analogy. He's convinced. Fuck.
Who would want open borders with everybody just pouring in? We have prisoners.
No one. No one even asks for that. Even the discussion about an open border means that there's a revolving door for migrants who live in Mexico, work here, and can go back home. A system set in place where they can have green cards or resident visas for periods of time when they're here working, if they want to move up here and make a bunch of money and send it home or whatever the fuck, and then they can go back to being Mexican citizens because that's what they are. And they don't have to go through some sort of fucking rigmarole and hide and run around and work under the table and be exploited by assholes like him. That's what they mean. That's all anyone ever means, except for the rando libertarians or hyper left where they're like, what? We don't need countries, that kind of horse shit.
And people.
By the way, all those people we don't need borders or countries or flags or governments. Blah, blah, blah. All of those people live in the best countries in the world. Not a one of them, not a single one lives in fucking Syria or an African or South American country where everybody's scrambling. None of them. All of them live in the U.S., Canada, the U.K., and maybe there's a couple of French or German ones. Everybody else, none of those people live in a country that has they all live in first world protected, and most of them, by the way, very cush existences.
People from mental institutions and terrorists being dumped into our country when they should not be accepted. April Fools, right?
No, when they should not be accepted? This is fucking lunacy.
We have no voter ID.
Oh my God, he's just going to list off things and say April Fools after everyone?
When everyone wants it. Even the Democrats, they voted 88% want it. The ones that don't want it are the leaders because they want to cheat in elections. It's very simple. There's only one reason that you cannot want voter ID. When they had their Democrat National Convention, I saw some of these guys. They had placards. They weren't just little pictures. These were placards. They were bigger than the chest itself, except in maybe a couple of cases.
Ew. Fuck you. Never pass up and look at the governor. Oh, yeah, titty joke. Great. Thanks so much. Now I got to explain that at the Rotary this weekend.
And these things were monster, and it had the name, the picture, everything about the person. But for voting, they don't want you to have voter ID.
Listen up. Everybody, gather around, if I may. Come closer. You can't bring a gun to the RNC or CPAC or any Trump rally. Enough said.
We have a woke military that
No, we don't.
can't fight or win, as proven in Afghanistan, the way they...
Whoa! Wow! Listen to this shit.
Think about the person, but for voting, they don't want you to have voter ID. We have...
This might be the singular most on-the-nose fuck you to the military, like men and women, I have ever heard him say.
Have a woke military that can't fight or win, as proven in Afghanistan. The way they were taken out was such a disgrace. And the people in the military are so great, but the leadership at top is just a disgrace. That should have never, ever happened.
And by the way, when he says that should have, yeah, he backed out of it because I think he realized what he was saying. But when he says that would have never, ever happened, he was never planning to leave Afghanistan.
And we had it way down in Afghanistan. Everyone up here knows about it, and we were doing great. They respected us. Abdul,
Oh, God.
head of the Taliban.
Not the head of the Taliban.
I called him.
Yes, and you showed him a picture of his
I
head.
said, Abdul, you're killing a lot of our people. Don't do it, Abdul. He was killing them, shooting them in the Obama administration. People, I got criticized for that call. I said, Abdul, don't do it, Abdul.
Jesus Christ. No, you didn't. What are you talking about? He got that guy out of a Pakistani fucking jail. He didn't call him. What? You're killing a lot of our... No, he wasn't. Trump let him and 5,000 Taliban fighters linked to this fucker out of jail. What? I called you and I said, Abdul, and I was like, what are you wearing?
Yes, Your Excellency, I understand. I said, if you do it, we are going to hit you harder than anybody has ever been hit in the history of our country. And that's...
Which really works well with religious fanatics and jihadis. If you fire on us, we're going to wipe you off the face of the earth. Okay, I guess I'll go to paradise sooner. What the fuck are you...
very hard, because we do have a great military. A lot of people don't even realize it because of the way we run it. But
yeah, it's not their fault. They're just failures.
we have great people. We have great generals, not the television generals. But I said, Abdul, don't do it. He said, but why do you...
Oh my God. Everything is the fucking snake story.
Send me a picture of my home. Why do you send me a picture of my house? Please tell me. I say, Abdul, that you're going to have to figure out for yourself. It's a lovely house. And for 18 months, we had nobody, you know that, Lindsay, we had nobody killed or shot, not one soldier. In fact, Biden even making a speech.
Also, that he made a deal. If you don't kill us, if you don't kill any of our people between now and when we exit, we won't do anything. We're going to leave. If you kill anybody, we're not leaving, was the argument. He was counting on this motherfucker to murder somebody so that we could stay. He let those soldiers out and said, don't kill any of our soldiers or we're staying forever. And then they didn't. And he's like, fuck. And they did no prep for the date of evacuation. None. It's just
During
garbage.
that period, he said, well, say what you want. For 18 months, nobody was killed. No soldier, not one. Not injured, not shot at.
They were not injured. No one had their hinges blown off or their locks or their knobs.
In Afghanistan. And then
By the way, for the record, there were 96 dignified transfers of dead soldiers and service people during the time that Trump was in office. He went to 4 of them. At the 4th one, he was cursed by one of the parents who blamed him for sending their son to die. It happens. and that is the role of the president, to hear that from the parents, and it's part of the gig. And he stopped going and just sent Pence. The other 92 didn't go anywhere near
They
the
start
place.
screaming at him, don't say that. You're not supposed to say that because that's good for the Republicans, but that's true. We didn't lose one soldier in 18 months. We didn't have one soldier shot at in 18
No, we didn't have a soldier die.
months. And then they had the catastrophe of that pullout, that horrible pullout. The way they did it was
Yeah, and if anybody knows about pulling out,
so embarrassing to her. I believe it was the lowest day.
oh God, this whole thing. It's the biggest embarrassment the country. We're not, you know what's embarrassing? Being in fucking Afghanistan for 20 fucking years.
In the history of our country. I really believe that. And
Yeah, we know you believe it, because you're nuts. You're a you're a crazy old
I
fart.
think that's one of the things that started with Russia. Russia looked at that. They saw that incompetence and they said, wow, this is a great time to go in.
Or they said, oh shit, if we don't go in now, they're going to repatriate all that gear and all those soldiers. And if we try to expand out any further, we'll be fucked. Because the government of the United States isn't spending $300 million a fucking day in Afghanistan anymore.
And by the way, that would have never happened.
Right, because he wasn't going to leave.
We should have a military that's conceived in fighting and winning, not conceived in woke. And
That's the quote I saw on Fox News. Not conceived in woke. Good Lord. He has to be writing his own speeches right now because, even ChatGPT would go, I can't sound this dumb. No one will use me as a service.
that's what we want. We want a military that wants to win. We have proposed mandatory electric stoves. Think of that.
They have proposed mandatory electric stoves. Ladies and gentlemen, mandatory electric stoves. We're going to jump from, and by the way, he didn't mention, he'll probably double back to the 13 we lost and the injured, which he always brings up as if he gives a shit. Chat DJT. That's so funny. Professional gnome. Yeah, it's just, no matter what you type in, the same shit always comes out. He's jumping from the 20-year plus Afghanistan war and the exit, which he did nothing to further, to fucking stoves.
And electric cars, they want mandatory stoves. They want
Yeah. If you live in a small efficiency and all you have is a hot plate and a microwave, the government's going to bring a stove in and put it in your living room. Use it as a fucking bench, but it's going in there, goddammit. I don't care if this is a bachelor apartment.
want mandatory electric cars. The cars go for like two hours. What are you going to do? Everyone's going to be sitting on the highway. We're all going to be looking for a little plug-in. Does anybody have a plug-in? My car just stopped. I've been driving for an hour and 51 minutes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's how it works. Imagine this asshole when gas-powered vehicles started off. Again, because most 1950s horror films were based on range anxiety from bad fuel efficiency and the lack of stations.
People that are cooks, I'm not much of a cook, but the cooks are saying gas is better. So use whatever you want, but have alternatives. If you want an electric car, if you want an electric stove or a range. It's crazy what they're doing. It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. This is nuts. I live in a fucking madhouse. They want stoves and cars and Afghanistan and Abdul.
Crazy. We have people in the midst of the greatest crime wave in the history that wanted to fund our police. This is, again, April Fools. This is April Fools. Who would think we have?
Oh, I see. He lost the. I don't know what the April Fool's thing was for the gas stoves or whatever. Biden didn't run on defund the police. Other Democrats did. They lost.
The greatest crime wave right now in the history of our country.
Well, it's very impressive, but I wouldn't brag.
Crime is up 78% in cities.
Gee, it's almost like no one was going anywhere for an entire year.
Nobody's ever seen it like this. And they wanted to...
I mean, go watch a Son of Sam documentary about New York. No one's ever seen it like this. Yeah, no one under, let's see, no one under 80 or over 15.
To fund the police. And that's never gone away. You know, they tried to say, well, we're just sort of kidding. We're not really. They wanted to fund our police. It's not even believable. We have men.
You're right. It's not believable.
Being encouraged to compete against women. And that was brought up.
By the way, all sports and trans issues aside, do you feel like this fucker is really fixated on like worrying about competing against women himself?
Before, but now I bring it up as April Fools. Who ever thought of a thing like this? We have men want to compete.
Who did do the thing about the thing?
In women's sports. We have Antifa and BLM who hate our country and burn down our cities, and they're totally protected by law enforcement.
No, they aren't.
And yet they put American patriots in jail.
I see. So the Jan 6ers that are in jail are, you know, everybody else. By the way, we've gone through this before. How this motherfucker was president for 4 fucking years. And if you look at his face, I think he really believes this. And yet, it's the same broken record. It's the same fucking bullshit.
What's going on there? That's all April.
What's the deal? What is the deal with Antifa?
April 1st, April Fool's Day.
April 1st? I can't even.
Protected by law enforcement, and yet they.
April 1st.
They put American patriots in jail. What's going on there? That's all April 1st, April Fool's Day. We're begging.
Thanks for, by the way, clarifying when April Fool's Day, in case anybody was like, is it the 12th this year? Or, and by the way, look at the governor. This is not a good day to be standing next to Donald Trump.
Begging foreign nations for oil. When we have more oil than they have, they think we're crazy. They think we're totally stone cold crazy. I speak to these people.
Yes, he talks to the leaders of Venezuela and Russia, and
they say, you're begging us for oil. You got more oil than we'll ever have. I call it liquid gold. It's right under our feet.
Is that what they say? You're begging us for oil? To fuck, get your own sandwich.
And we decide to stop drilling oil right at its all-time high. Now, you have friends of mine here, businessmen, great business people. So it hits a record price, and they say, let's stop drilling. It's supposed to be the opposite, April Fools, right?
I don't even know what this fucking timeline is in his head.
April Fools, it's the opposite. When it hits a record price, let's drill. Let's
It's a worldwide price, fucko.
lower taxes. Let's pay off debt. We would have been not only energy, we would have had energy for ourselves, but we were going to have so much extra energy, double and triple what we would have needed.
No.
We would have paid off our debt. We would have made so much money. We would have taken care of Europe. They would have paid us a fortune, which is much less than they're paying right now. Everybody would have been happy. But it's a shame.
Yeah, and if you'd have just taken the sleeping pill and gotten in the van, we could have been so much. This could have been us. But
When you see it, but that's April Fool's.
Good shot. This is his campaign, by the way. Putting up this angle. This is from his site on Rumble.
We stop drilling when the oil prices hit the highest they.
Fran, get the fuck out of the way.
It's supposed to be the opposite. We sell China millions of barrels when we can't get oil for ourselves. So we can't get the oil. We don't know what to do.
Again.
We're looking for it. They call up the governor. Governor, you're a smart guy. Please help us get some oil. He says, I'm sorry, I can't do that. It's under our ground, but they're restricting us from taking it out, right? Even your pipelines and things. They don't want pipelines. They don't want anything.
They don't want pipelines. They don't want anything because Keystone exists, but Keystone XL was shut down because of the poor safety record and the uselessness of Keystone in the first place. And American water is more important than Canadian shale oil. Go fuck yourself.
an all-time
Sorry, tar sands oil.
high. It's supposed to be the opposite. We demand windmills be built on our oceans, our prairies, our mountains, and our plains, only to realize that they're killing all our eagles and our birds. If you kill a bald eagle, they put you in jail for 5 years. But the windmills knock out thousands of them. Nothing happens.
Honest to God, like now the dude's just going like, oh fuck. I thought this was just going to be, maybe good, possibly lame, but some of us might need to wrestle him and put some Thorazine in him by the time this is done. This is not good.
And it's the most expensive and least reliable form of energy on the planet. And the wind turbines are all made in China. Some are made in Germany, but
Yeah, they're all made in China. Some are made in Germany.
most of them are made in China. Think of it. But he's
Okay, I'm picturing a turbine factory in China. Probably shut down right now. Low output. So we're buying a lot of German ones.
protecting your shores. I can tell you, these people, your shores are being protected. They're not letting that one happen.
Yes, that's good.
I don't think the people on those beautiful beaches are going to be too happy with that. They're not letting that happen. I'm not letting it happen either. We have a
Nobody is.
president whose son's laptop from hell gets
Doesn't exist.
taken over and exposes massive corruption like nobody's seen before. And then the FBI goes and convinces the media that it's all nonsense. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. All disinformation.
Oh, now he finally got the right word out. I don't know. Is there someone like running his teleprompter that's like an amateur DJ, and they're just going and they just roll it back.
And they say, don't worry about that. Let's go after Trump. Trump. Let's get Trump. I sold something in New Hampshire. I said, the son goes to the father. He says, Dad, they got the craziest guy. He's running this store to fix laptops. And I gave him my laptop. And he's really gone wild, Dad. He's saying bad things about me. Really bad. He's saying bad stuff. But what's he saying, son? Tell me, what's he saying? What do they say about me? Well, it's exposed every single crime that you've ever committed, Dad. Then I say, at some point, doesn't Biden have to say this son thing is not working out well? I mean, if you think, you guys are great politicians. At some point, don't you sort of say, like, this whole deal with the son, with Hunter, it's not working out great. Not.
What is the implication there? He should kill his son or something? What in the world? This whole kid offspring thing is not
working out great. We have an FBI
again. What?
And a Justice Department that raids a very secure Mar-a-Lago in Florida, placed under lock and key with additional locks added at their request. But then they want nothing to do with Biden's garage where classified documents.
Well, by the way, for the record, oh, hi. Hold on one second. You cold? Love you. Hi. Sorry. My lady dropped in. She's back from work. Just saying. Where were we? I got spun.
Placed under lock and key with.
Oh, right, yeah. So the FBI were part of the search, and Biden voluntarily said, these are all the places I might have had stuff. Excuse me. I might have had different documents. So just go look there. If you find anything, please get it to NARA. NARA, by the way, I think one of the details everyone is missing in all of this is that while NARA was basically arguing with Trump for a year and a half, apparently NARA never informed Biden or his staff that anything was missing. So that if there was stuff amongst their stuff, it wasn't stuff that was like, holy fuck, where'd that go? They were just like, again, they took his personal notebooks and that kind of stuff, and they're like, okay, yeah, if there's anything in my personal notebooks that are classified, we'll hold that for a certain amount of time until they can be declassified and put in my library, whatever the fuck. But yeah, we'll just put them in there. And he did it voluntarily. But at no point did NARA call up Biden, especially that we know of, and say, especially since he's president now and he could declassify anything he wants, I suppose. But he never did they call him up and go, hey, by the way, whatever happened to that folder? Ever. Same thing with Pence, arguably.
With additional locks added at their request.
Right, because it was unlocked. And by the way, notice how it's become locks and it was one padlock?
But then they want nothing to do with Biden's garage, where classified documents are strewn all over a wet floor. You know, anybody know much about garages?
Yeah, tell me about garages. You're a big driver, never had a license. Tell me what garages are like. You've seen them in movies.
Those floors get very damp and wet.
Look at the governor. What? What? His concern is not that classified documents might have been seen by foreign actors or sold or whatever. It's that they're splattered all over the place. The floor is very wet. My carpet in my office was very dry. None of those classified documents were ever wet, or they were very clear. You could really read them, which the guy from Saudi Arabia said, these are amazingly clear. And I was like, I know. Can you imagine if I left them in a wet garage? What the shit?
Biden's garage, where classified documents are strewn all over a wet floor. You know, anybody know much about garages? Those floors get very damp and wet. So you can just imagine.
Yeah, that's what I'm imagining it right now. Oh my God. What an asshole. This is so weird. Oh. Oh shit. I don't know why he thinks
My documents are strewn all over a wet floor. You know, anybody know much about garages?
Let me tell you about garages. I built a lot of, I'm a developer. I know a lot about garages. And every garage in a building that I've ever built leaks like a motherfucker.
Those floors get very damp and wet. So you can just imagine. And then it turned out today, they just announced that house was used as Hunter Biden's office to deal with foreign countries. Can you believe it? Oh, you didn't hear that? Boy, they got a bigger charge than I thought. Most people.
Yeah, I just made it up.
They're so used to this corruption, there's not much of a charge. You go, yes, 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 every day in America has become April Fool's Day. This is
Yes, 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 Abdullah. Why, oh, why, oh, why? Abdullah.
what it feels like, because I could go over, I could do this all day long. We could
Oh, we know.
say things. It's just the opposite. They do just the opposite of common sense. You know, people think of Henry as a conservative, and he's conservative, but he's basically a man of common sense. I think we all are. We're men of common sense and women of.
By the way, he's trying to distance himself from Republicans and conservatism in case he has to run as a third-party candidate. So part of this whole bullshit, which please, God, let him. Oh, God. But part of this common sense horse shit is like half campaign push, half bail, like parachute cord.
Common sense, because this is really common sense. It's not about party. They're doing.
Yeah, it's common sense that most garages are damp, disgusting, wet places. Everybody knows that.
Doing things that destroy our country that are so obvious. 2 years ago, we had that great energy independence, and it was surrendered for no reason. South Carolina families are paying over 50% more for gasoline than they were when I left office. And it's
Yes, because no one was driving anywhere, and gas prices went back to like 1980 numbers.
actually much higher than that.
Oil was negative $32 a barrel for a while.
We were at $1.87 a gallon. And
Who cares if you couldn't go anywhere?
Now think of it. Now we're at $4, $5. California's still at 7, but it's going up. You know, they use the National Reserve. I filled up the National Reserves.
Oh my God. Yeah, California, you had a momentary reprieve.
I did that because we had so much.
Yes, he could have filled it up, charging other countries to store their oil in our strategic national reserve, and he held off and waited until the price went back up.
One miscalculation. I got them so incentivized. They were producing so much gasoline, they were going to all go out of business. And the prices were going down. Remember when it was you could get a barrel of oil for nothing, and they'd give you $37. But yet,
right,
to take it away. So it was no good for the Wall Street guys because they're like carrying barrels of oil. But we had a period of time, but we were producing it like never.
By the way, and he didn't buy it then. He missed that window
Before. And we created something that nobody's ever seen. We would have been at a level that nobody's ever seen before.
Yes, nobody's seen it yet. Nobody will ever see it because it's a fart air fantasy in the middle of his fucking forehead.
Just as I did before, I will unleash America's vast energy resources. Those guys can start up quickly. It will also, by the way, knock the hell out of inflation. You know, inflation was caused by energy. Energy is very...
Oh dear, now we're getting into economics.
Very big, very powerful, very...
Energy is very big, it's very powerful, and it's... Please go on.
All invasive. This is a big thing.
It's, yes, energy is all invasive. Excuse me? Say that again. Sorry, say that again, dummy. Energy is, don't let the guy leaning in distract you.
Inflation. You know, inflation was caused by energy. Energy is very...
Look at the governor. The governor is one of the money printer go burr people who thinks that inflation was caused by how much money we were printing, which is not the case either. Supply shock and reshoring and all these kind of manufacturing and the global supply chain basically breaking down and then restructuring. It's an expensive process. But look at him. He's like, what?
Very, very big, very powerful, very all invasive. This is a big thing, energy.
It's all invasive.
And when you're a chef and you're cooking, or when you have a store and you're doing something, or when you're sending trucks around to deliver things, or whatever you're doing, it's so much energy, the cost of the energy. And that cost was up 50, 60, 70%. It was going up like crazy. And don't forget, it's artificially known. Now it's starting.
From a time when no one was going anywhere.
To inch up again very rapidly, actually, because he took the strategic national reserves that I built up, and he took everything out. And
we went down from like 740 million barrels to 640 million barrels, 660.
Now it's at the lowest level. I just read that it has been in 40 years, 42 years.
Hold on. Let's check. Let's see. Strategic oil reserve. Oil reserve. Oops. Current stocks are at, let's see. Let's do 10 max. Oh, sorry. Max. Hold on. Well, that's the only, it only goes back 10 years. Where's our U.S. crude oil? I see. Okay, hold on one second. Here it is. Strategic Petroleum Reserve. There we go. Infographic. Learn how they. Where's this? Let's see. Current SPR releases. One second. SPR oil acquisition. Let's see. Competitive sales strategy. Standard sales provisions. As so the authority. Blah blah blah. Okay, hold on. Well, here's December 16th, 2022. U.S. begins buying back oil for Strategic Petroleum Reserve official. The U.S. Energy Department said on Friday it will begin buying back oil for the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, or SPR, first purchase this year since the record 180 million barrel release from the stockpile. The department will buy up to 3 million barrels for delivery in February. A senior official told reporters Joe Biden announced a $180 million sale. 180 million sale in late March to combat surging gas prices. Sales shrunk to 380, the lowest since 84. That's the timing he's talking about. Raising concerns about energy security, will be releasing solicitation to purchase 3 million barrels of oil for delivery in February of next year. The official said contracts will be awarded to the energy companies by January 13th. This approach will lock in a price up front when companies submit their bids. To help relieve supply shortages of refineries, last week shut down the Keystone crude pipeline. After an oil spill last week shut down the Keystone crude pipeline, the Energy Department will also execute an exchange of about 2 million barrels from the SPR that companies will have to send back at a later date. We're able to do the same thing we're doing with the 3 million barrel buyback. The White House said in October it would buy back oil for the SPR when prices were at or below $60 to $72 a barrel, a bit below where U.S. benchmark futures were trading on Friday at about 75. We're going to be nimble and flexible here. Be very useful to put us on notice to see what the market would provide in terms of interest and what the price level for that is. Right. They sold it at 120.
So this is crazy. That's supposed to be used.
Also, again, more than we ever need. Way more.
Used for war, for our protection. It's not supposed to be used to get gasoline prices down for an election, which is what they did.
Yeah. By the way, in general, it's been used multiple times to affect the economic impact of oil prices on the country since Carter, especially.
Well, thank you.
What did he say? Hold on.
For our protection.
He said we love Trump.
It's not supposed to be used to get gasoline prices down.
Is this making him back on track?
For an election, which is what they did. Well, thank you. I love you too.
Whoever you are. Ugh.
But we handed Biden a great economy, the fastest economic recovery ever recorded. It was the fastest ever recorded, but now families are being crushed.
Yes, because if you use the percentages from below 0 to 20%, this asshole wants you to feel it. If you crawled out of a 20-foot pit, you climbed up a 20-foot hill.
With real wages down 21 months in a row. As president, it will be my personal mission to put a secure middle-class lifestyle within the reach of every single South Carolina family, and we'll do it easily.
Yeah, I didn't say this to New Hampshire because fuck those people.
We're going to beat inflation rapidly.
Yes. Nothing works better than drastic economic monkeying with the monetary supply quickly. Literally hold on, let me see. I'll bring this up too. This is, let's see, Bloomberg. See if we can have this. Yeah, here you go. This is, here's 3 weeks ago. This is still relatively normal to it. Optimism makes comeback on Wall Street with soft landing eyed. JP Morgan's Kelly says pessimism is creating opportunities. Consensus view is for high inflation, likely recession. But those folks, David Kelly, chief of globalists for JP Morgan, is betting that inflation will continue to ease in 2023, helping the U.S. economy to narrowly escape a recession. This has been, it's what a bunch of these guys are betting on. And they're very confused by retail stockholders and foreign stockholders.
The one thing is habits. It's not as...
Oh, there's a hype train on Twitch, by the way. And thanks, Melissa, for the super chat. And Francie, thanks for being a member for as long as you have. And thanks for the bits, guys.
Easy as it would have been, because it was singularly, it was, what caused it was
singularly
energy. Now everything is causing inflation, Henry, everything. But to beat inflation, we will...
You know this, Henry. Everything is causing inflation. The inflation is causing inflation. Things being inflated balloons are causing inflation.
Stop the government spending insanity. $1.7 trillion just approved, and we'll rebuild the greatest economy in the history of the world. And I did it before, and I'll do it again, and it won't even be difficult. It's not even going to be difficult.
Nah. It was easy. Couple of weeks. Matter of fact, he's not even going to serve his whole fucking term. Matter of fact, he's not going to serve any term.
And we were...
I'm going to rush in there. I'm going to scream at the military, but give them all the money they want, and pull off all no, I don't want to hear any after action reports. I don't want to hear the rules of engagement are completely wiped clean. Do what you fill your boots, kill anybody you want, anybody in front of you, man, woman, child, or animal. Just knock them the fuck out. If you need to, I'm going to try and get American troops, or even foreign mercenaries. Hell, we'll try and bring the Wagner Group in. They'll work, they'll do security in Chicago and all these Democrat-run cities. Right.
Be respected, because we were respected as a country. They did a poll that I wasn't as popular in Germany as Obama. Of course I wasn't, because, if anybody that wins those polls is not doing a good job for the United States.
I think Germany's a special case, though. This was true in a bunch of countries, but Germany has kind of they're sensitive about people who make overt 1937 style statements.
And we both got big crowds, but they wanted to see who's more popular. And the German people, great people, they said, this guy has really beaten us up. No, we make them pay because they took advantage of us on trade, and so does every country. There's not a country that didn't, but we renegotiated USMCA, we renegotiated all of our trade deals and making a fortune. And the greatest deal I made, I can't even talk about it. It's the deal we made with China. The farmers...
you can't talk about it? Why? Because it never happened?
Took in $50 billion worth of purchases where they were taking in nothing. And
no. He gave them money from tariffs on other shit.
I got $28 billion from the Chinese to give to our farmers because they took it.
Yeah, it was like a tip they gave.
Advantage of our farmers for years. And I got them to pay $28 billion directly to our farmers.
Yeah. That's probably why they're having such trouble spending it. It's in yuan.
And nobody
believes that because you're a fucking lunatic. What?
Nobody believed that was possible.
Yeah, because it isn't. The Chinese did not pay American farmers to farm. What are you talking about?
And on the border, I really like the president of Mexico, happens to be a socialist, We've missed socialism because our Democrat Party and others, they never stopped. The train never stopped. It's supposed to stop at socialism. It just passed. So we're down to Marxism and communism. Okay, it never stopped. But
yeah, I guess they must have fell asleep on the train.
I said to him, President, we have to have.
He doesn't remember anybody's name, so he just calls them by their title.
28,000 soldiers guarding.
Except Abdul. He can't remember the president of Mexico's name, but he can remember he's on a first name basis with the military head of the Taliban.
On our border, he said, we can't do that. I said, you have to do that. And I said, 28,000 soldiers, and we also have to stay in Mexico. Everybody has to stay in Mexico. I can't do that. You got to do that. Then he sent a representative. He laughed at me when I said it. He said, no, we can't do that. We won't do that. I said, you have to do it, and if you don't do it, we're going to charge you a 25% tax on every single product you sell to the United States. And he said, could I get back to you in 5 minutes? I'd like to make one call. I think that might...
By the way, bullshit. He said cars made in Mexico, and most of the cars made in Mexico are American car makers.
I've been to the president, and he made the call, and he said, it would be our honor to give you 28,000 free soldiers. It would be our great, great honor to allow you to stay in Mexico for millions of people. Millions and millions of people. You remember that one. Unlike
no, he doesn't.
Biden is wasting hundreds of billions of dollars on the Green New Deal. I will send South Carolina the world-class infrastructure that you truly need.
It's too late.
Just as I ensured that Charleston was the deepest water port on the East Coast. We took care of it. That was us, right? We took care of it. You got the best, the deepest. We had a sign up there that said, dig we must. Forget about everything. Dig we must. They're saying, oh, no, there was a snail there. I said, that's all right. We'll work that out. But you have the deepest port by far on the East Coast. And that was a big thing. I assume that had a big, that's great, right? Good job you did, too. By phasing in.
Oh, my God. It's like this. He's just bragging about getting his cronies and the states that support him the most whatever they ask for, like he fucking knows.
Tariffs and restrictions, we will phase out imports of all essential goods from China, and we will bring those jobs and factories back to South Carolina and our other great states.
You're too late. It's already happened.
And I will force the Chinese to sell any holdings in the United States that put our national security at risk. You have to do that.
Like what? Start with New York and Florida real estate and then get back to me.
I took it.
Yeah, just lying.
Hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs from China. Brought in businesses and brought them back from China like nobody's ever seen before.
That's just nonsense. Honest to God, like, that's just blatantly, like, it's beyond even a fabrication. It's a fantasy.
Never been done. No other.
No, it's never been done. Joe Biden has done more to reshore factories and move us out of China and to stiff arm China's hegemony in the world than any president since the opening.
President has ever done anything like it. No other president has ever taken in 10 cents from China.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Oh, they're a developing nation. They say they're a developing nation. So on trade deals and all of this, they just rip us off. Nobody's ever ripped us off. But other countries rip us off also. But nobody's ever ripped us off like China. When I got in 507 billion, with a B, billion, in deficits with China. Think of
right. Because American companies make shit in China. We buy stuff from them that they fabricate, and then we sell it for a lot more. That 500 billion in deficits with China equaled about $3 trillion or $7 trillion, depending on which industries you're talking about, worth of value added.
Of it. Not even sustainable. But this is why we have $32 trillion in debt, when you think about it.
No, it isn't. You're why we have 25% of that, a little over.
Much of it's owed to China, which is interesting.
No, it isn't.
We'll have to work that out.
I already have. They used to have about 8% of our debt. It's become a myth for a very fucking long time. They buy our bonds like anybody else, and if they sell them, somebody else buys them. They like them because they're secure.
I can see a nice swap there. You know, you've screwed us for about 30 years. Let's negotiate that debt. Let's renegotiate the debt. No, it's ridiculous. We owe them trillions of dollars, and they've taken advantage of us. I don't think that's good. Under Biden, fentanyl, heroin, meth, and other lethal drugs are pouring across our wide-open border, tearing
again, because they're catching more of it.
Families and communities apart. Drug overdose deaths are up 13% in South Carolina last year, and the reason is the drugs are just pouring in at levels 10 times what they were 2.5 years ago. Who can believe that?
Everything is bigger than it was 2.5 years ago. We were all inside. The whole world was fucking shut down. Boats were adrift. What are you talking about? The entire world is 170,000% more alive than it was.
This isn't 100%. This is 10 times. The drug cartels are waging war in America, and it's time for America to wage war right now on the drug cartels.
This is his idea that he's going to bomb. Basically, it's from Clear and Present Danger, the second Jack Ryan movie, third Jack Ryan movie with Harrison Ford.
So we're going to smash their trafficking networks, and just as we destroyed the ISIS caliphate, we achieved the most secure border in U.S. history. And
yeah, Lindsay's really clever.
2.5 years of litigation from the Democrats and even some Republicans. I built hundreds of miles of wall. We got it built. We were building additional wall, even more than we promised, and then
it just didn't work.
We had that ridiculous result in the election, and they immediately stopped. And that's when I said, Henry, they really want people to come into the country, because we had the wall sitting there. All it had to be is erected. 3 weeks. And
yeah, he does have a problem with erections.
All of those additional areas that I didn't even think we would be able to do, they would have been done. And they not only didn't do them, they took all of that expensive material into areas where Texas and Arizona can't use them. It's unbelievable. They wouldn't even let them use them. So
it's because there's federal property and state property, and there's an important distinction there.
As we restore every border.
Otherwise, the federal government could also seize state property. You see how it works both ways?
The security policy of the Trump presidency, I will also demand that Congress impose criminal penalties on any future administration that erases America's borders as Joe Biden has done.
All right. I will write a law that says no president can act in a different way than I did, even if they get voted in.
They've erased our borders.
By the way, I'm almost done with this because I think we're done.
Through weakness and incompetence, Joe Biden has brought us to the brink of World War III. We're at the brink of World War III, just in case anybody doesn't know it.
Yeah, it's easy to miss. You know, things like World War III, just kind of like, fuck. It's like the rapture. You're like, God damn it. What are all these clothes doing on the... Oh, shit. I missed the rapture again.
As president, I will bring back peace through strength. Peace through strength would have never...
I love that. I love it. Reagan said it, but I said it first.
...happened.
Would have never happened. We would have just let Russia take Ukraine and sat here with our thumb up our ass counting money.
If I was president, there would not have been a war with Russia in Ukraine. Zero chance. And Lindsay would be happy with that. That's better than any alternative. Wouldn't have happened. And I will say this, even now, despite tremendous loss of lives and destruction of much of that country, I would have a peace deal negotiated within 24 hours. You could make a peace deal. You could make a deal for both right now, 24 hours.
No, you fucking well couldn't. And again, look at the governor. What? No one believes that. That is just baseline absurd. But it doesn't matter. I mean, this is basically like hyperbole red meat for a small group of people and like fluffing his own ego.
That deal could be done. That deal is waiting to be done, but there's
no, it is not.
To do it.
There's nobody to do it. Yes, the Russians don't want it, and the Ukrainians don't want it, because what the Russians want, the Ukrainians won't tolerate.
To protect Americans from the threat of hypersonic missiles and nuclear weapons, I will build state-of-the-art, next-generation missile defense shields.
Shields? Do we have to carry them? No, it wouldn't be a missile defense shield. It would be missile defense shields. I see. So, do you pass them out, or?
And just as I rebuilt our military, we totally rebuilt our military. Unfortunately,
yeah, so it's so rebuilt, but it's rebuilt and gay.
We gave $85 billion of it to the Taliban. How was that? Was that a good deal?
Never happened.
We took the military out first, and we left Bagram. How about leaving Bagram?
Yes, when you leave a country, it means you leave the fucking country. If you were going to stay in Bagram, we were never going to leave. That's
one of, I think, the biggest Air Force base in the world. We left Bagram. And you know who's occupying Bagram right now? China. And I didn't care about Bagram from Afghanistan. It's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons.
Oh my God, they've moved the place they make their nuclear weapons closer.
And we left. We gave it to them. We should have never left that. You agree with that? You agree with...
You agree with that? Amen. Hold on one second, by the way. One moment, if I may. Let's see. Here we go. Hold on. It's just so easy. ISIS-K steps up threats and attacks on Chinese projects in Afghanistan. January 29th, the major investments of China in Taliban-ruled Afghanistan have been targeted by the Islamic State, Khorasan province, and other terrorist groups. Nikkei Asia reported that attacks on Chinese projects in the area are also a kind of retaliation for the inhumane treatment the inhuman treatment of the Muslim Uyghur population in China. In January this year, China's Xinjiang Central Asia Petroleum and Gas signed a 25-year-old oil extraction deal with the Afghan Taliban authorities at the Yama River oil field in the northwestern Afghanistan. Another deal, China's reportedly held talks with Taliban to exploit massive copper reserves in Mesanak. And the company's supposed to blah, blah, blah. September last year, ISIS-K published an editorial titled, and it's nice of them, they've got an editorial staff. China's daydream of imperialism in its Voice of Khorasan magazine. This was actually a warning that China's pursuit of resources in Muslim lands and its treatment of its own Muslim Uyghur population in the Xinjiang Autonomous Region could lead to conflict with the group. In December last year, ISIS claimed responsibility for an attack at Kabul hotel popular with Chinese citizens. This month, an attack on Afghan's foreign ministry was thought to be targeting a Chinese delegation inside. Although there's been no independent verifications of the claim, ISIS-K had targeted the various foreign missions and the Sikh temple in the past year. These incidents targeting Chinese nationals and projects prove that ISIS-K has now been hindering Chinese interests in Taliban-ruled Afghanistan. Let's see. There's the South China Post. Despite Taliban assurances that security, is guaranteed for Chinese nationals and other foreigners, militant attacks likely to continue. ISIS-K claims that it has legitimate reasons to attack China's interests in the war-torn country. Taliban says that it has intensified its operations against Islamic State in Afghanistan after a series of attacks across the country in recent months. Chinese nationals will remain a target in 2023. China's ties with the Taliban will add the risk for its citizens in Afghanistan as the ISIS-K militant group tries to undermine the regime by raising doubts over its security guarantees to foreign investors. Yeah, sweet. I don't know why we wouldn't want to be there right in the middle of exactly the same shit. This was fun, though. Hold on one second. This one I liked. This kind of mucked things up, too. Taliban arrests Chinese nationals for allegedly smuggling Afghan lithium. Taliban authorities in Afghanistan have arrested 5 men, including 2 Chinese nationals, for allegedly trying to smuggle an estimated 1,000 metric tons of lithium-bearing rocks out of the country. The arrests and the seizure of the rocks were made in the eastern Afghan border city of Jalalabad. The Chinese nationals and their Afghan collaborators were planning to illegally transport the precious stones to China via Pakistan, said Taliban intelligence officials in comments aired Sunday by Afghan television channels. Yeah, they were just ripping them off, too. Good times.
That everybody who's intelligent agrees we should have kept it. We're left.
No. If you stay in a country, you stay in a country. If you only stay in your military base, basically you're just putting a target on your soldiers' back and guaranteeing that they'll be murdered anytime they leave the place.
Dark of night. We left the lights on and we left the dogs behind, you know? The dog lovers are saying, what happened to the dogs? We had a lot of dogs. We left the dogs behind. They don't like to say that, but that's what happened. But we left, and I don't think the Taliban's too good with dogs, right? I don't think they have that loving.
I don't know. Why didn't you tell Abdul, don't hurt the dogs?
Feeling for dogs. But
this guy's never had a pet, by the way.
Build the shield, and the workers and the service members of your state will be at the heart of that action. You'll be building it, and you'll be manufacturing it, and you'll be doing a lot, because a lot gets done in your state, and a lot gets done in your state because of me and because of these gentlemen coming to me and say, can we do it in South Carolina? And I'd say yes every time, right, Henry? I'd say yes every time. We will.
Right. It might be better for the country or cheaper or more efficient or more secure to put it in another state that's already got the infrastructure for it or something, but these are your buddies.
Get critical race theory and other left-wing lunacy out of our military, and we will get it out of our classrooms, and we'll get it out fast. And, you know, we had it out. But one of the first things when he signed all of those documents, those wonderful documents, I wonder if any of those documents are on the garage floor in his house.
No, those are executive orders he signed right now. And if they were, it would be because he declassified them and it wouldn't fucking matter. He just couldn't remember what executive order meant.
It's a document.
I'm serious.
But when he signed all of that.
It's a document? Wait a minute.
Those documents, those wonderful documents, I wonder if any of those documents are on the garage floor in his house. It's a document. But when he
It's a document.
signed all of that stuff, we will get it out. And we had it out, and our military was clean. We fired a lot of people that taught it. They were highly paid people, too. These were people making $300,000 and $400,000 a year. They were teaching this nonsense. So we want to teach people how to win wars. That's what we want. As I announced...
Yeah, that might involve knowing how to get along with your fellow soldiers.
This week, I will cut federal...
Unit cohesion? No? fuck it. Just give them a gun and make them run.
Federal funding for any school pushing far left sexual or political content on our children. And
by the way, listen to that crowd and know that that is their biggest issue. They have moved on because they think pro-life is handled. This is the second one. Listen to the energy, because most of it like trade, blah, 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 just not a fucking peep. But you bring up like LGBT teachings in schools or trans women in sports, you're going to hear noise like this. Just pay attention.
Create massive incentives for states and school districts to adopt crucial reforms to protect parents' rights. Can you believe we're even talking about this? Henry, we're talking about parents' rights. We're saying we're going to protect parents' rights. 10 years ago, who would even say that? Parents' rights. Yeah, we're going to protect parents' rights. Who would think that would even have to say it? Today, it's like a big political...
But he doesn't understand it. And he's like, I'm a parent. I didn't want to be around any of that shit.
Statement. We will protect parents' rights. We'll bring them back. That includes a direct election of public school principals by the parents. If any principal is not getting the job done, the parent should have the right and be able to vote or to fire them and to select someone else that will do the job properly.
They already do through the school board. There's a standard. You can't just fire them at cause because you don't like how they're teaching or what they're teaching. And secondly, like, well, it's a state issue anyways. This should be interesting. I think most of all, how many local issues they want to solve through federal intervention while decrying Democrats for thinking that government is the answer to everything.
So these are just a few of the big ideas to restore.
Yeah, they're huge.
A great America that I will be talking about, and the big thing is the polls. We're leading everybody by so much. Remember in 2016, I used to go around bragging about the polls, only if they were good. If they were bad, I wouldn't actually talk about it, but they were mostly good. But I'd go around and I'd say, you know, this poll just came out, McLaughlin just came out, and I'm leading by 20, and I'm leading by 10, and I'd go, and people drove the fake news media crazy. You got a lot of fake news out there, by the way. That's a lot of fakers. That's a lot of people.
Honestly, we've seen this so many times. Like he's got these certain beats, even when it's not there. It's like he's constantly verbally pulling off the George W. Bush attempt to open a locked door.
That's a lot of people, but
no, it isn't.
They must be here for you. I think they're here for you because you're doing such a good job. But we do have a lot. But you know.
But we do have a lot, but you know.
What we're doing is so important because we're going to save our country. If we don't save our country is very fragile.
If we don't save our country, we won't have a country. There'll be no leftover country. We have to put this country in tinfoil or saran wrap and put it in the freezer and get to it within the week.
Fragile, very fragile. It's all very fragile.
The country's not fucking fragile. If it was, we'd be down already, motherfucker. We had riots for a year, a pandemic, and your assholes attacked the Capitol during the count of the Electoral College. We're fine.
Everything is. We got to save our country. And I want to introduce the amazing South Carolina leadership team that...
All right, yeah, that's the end of that, because he'll just go into that bullshit. Oh, my God. Well, we got through it, and I'm not doing the second one because it's intolerable and gross and whatever. Can we jump to something real quick and like a palate cleanser of idiocy? Something maybe more higher energy, and maybe, you know, something with a little more, I don't know, less emotional baggage and intellectual baggage. Ladies and gentlemen, the answer to the Ukraine war is right around the corner. Trump knows how to end the Russia-Ukraine war. Listen. Hey, listen. This is going to... All right, guys. The tags, what for, blah, blah, blah.
Well, guys, this is another one that Trump is going to be 100% right about.
Guys, I'm reading this. I had about 4 seconds, and what was he going to be 100% right about? I have an idea. What's my idea?
Just the other day, he put out the tweet. First come the tanks, then come the nukes. Get this crazy war ended now. So easy to do. He's talking...
Yes, I don't know why they didn't just rush this straight into the Pentagon and have someone translate it into adult and get at it. What more strategy do you need than a grown man shout tweeting fucking blather? Also, hi, you're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up. I haven't done any of that stuff. Thank you to our patrons. You're why we're here. And also, super chats and super thanks if you're watching this later. And Facebook, just follow the page. So, you know.
Talking about Ukraine, where the United
Hi, Twitch. Love you guys. Thanks for the bit.
States just sent over, I guess, a bunch of Abrams tanks, not state.
No, we're going to. We have not just sent them over. But, I mean, you've never been around anybody in government who actually does their job, so you wouldn't know.
Abrams. So we're clear. But Abrams tanks to Ukraine. Right?
Gus Abrams. Gus.
I then saw on social media, literally.
Oh my God. I literally saw, and obviously he was on real social media. He saw what his dad said, but that's not social media. That's on Truth Social, which, I mean, calling it social media, that's kind of rude to real social media, isn't it?
A few hours later. Well, that's wonderful, but we'd also like some F-16s or F-15. I think it was F-16s. So now,
yeah, whatever works.
Now they want tanks. Then they want fighter planes. And at what point does Russia say, hey, you know what? Now that we're at war with the United States, essentially. Now we've been...
Essentially. No, we're giving them materials. They are doing the fighting. And he should know this. This dude doesn't do anything but, like, he doesn't even do any of his own hunting. Somebody else drives him around, finds the animal for him so he can shoot it.
In a proxy war for basically, a year at this point. I mean, since its inception, right? 100.
Yes, Russia. Then essentially what you're saying is Russia declared a proxy war on the United States through Ukraine. Okay.
$130 billion, right? And I imagine there's a lot more. Meaning, we read about the 200 and 220 billion, whatever the number is, that the Pentagon misplaced. They can't account for it.
No, it's not that they can't account for it. They're fucking not going to. That happens in every budget. It happened during the Trump administration. It happened during every administration.
Pentagon can't account for 200-something billion dollars. Just disappeared. Remember, guys, if you miss your taxes by $2, the IRS is coming to visit you.
No, they aren't. They will not come to visit you for $2. Just in case you were worried that this lunatic is actually saying something of merit, the IRS is not going to come after you for $2. They are not the kid on the bicycle from Better Off Dead.
The Pentagon, what's a couple $100 billion between friends? So I imagine.
Yeah, most of the reality you experience is your imagination.
There's more money being sent over there. So,
or somewhere, or kept here. Maybe it's even building secret projects in the United States. But you know what? Maybe when your dad is president next time, he can write he can sign a law, he can force a bill through or write an executive order that the Department of Defense and the Pentagon must announce not only what they're building, but the designs. It's called the Open Source Pentagon Project. All military developers will have to post the blueprints online for all of our military gear and our weapons first and for a review.
Ukraine asks for tanks, okay?
Yes, because they are fighting a land war.
Then they ask for F-16s.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they asked.
Then, what's next? Where does it end?
Nukes. I'm guessing nukes. Yeah, that's it. They're going to ask for nukes next. And how are we going to, sure, we're obviously going to want to say no, but how can we? They're so cute right there. They're sitting there all cute. And they're like, but I really, a nuke. And I'm like, all right, I guess. I don't know. I bought him the fucking tank and the plane. I got to give him a nuke, I guess. It's not like I give a shit what's done with it.
Where does the blank check stop? So
it's not a blank check. It's Lend-Lease program. It's actually they're responsible for paying it back.
Like everything that Trump's been right about, you can see
what, that Ivanka's the only member of the family with brains?
his tweet on Truth Social, First come the tanks. It's going to never end.
Well, no, that's not even what the tweet says. The tweet says, then nukes. So it would end with nukes. Nukes would end it. Nukes would end everything. That's the prevailing thought.
Until we say enough is enough.
Until we say enough is enough, no means no. I am tired of being... I did not give consent to be fondled by Zelensky.
No one's coming to the table. Until we say we're not funding this crap anymore, no one has an incentive to negotiate. Oh,
I see. So, Russia has plenty of incentive to negotiate. The incentive would be that we're fucking them up and they should stop and get the fuck out of that country. That's a lot of incentive. 188,000 dead Russian soldiers is a lot of fucking incentive. Only if you care about human life, of course, which they don't. So it might not fully be the incentive that we would think it is. But that said, eventually they're going to run out of dudes.
Ukraine can overperform. I mean, I don't think they're winning. It seems like, the news will say, every time Russia makes a gain, it's not really a significant strategic victory. Every time Ukraine makes some sort of gain, it's very significant strategic. No one knows. Okay.
No one knows. Look, Russia takes a chunk of land. Ukraine takes it back. Which one's more significant? The part where the people you're rooting for get their ground back, or the part where the other people were stealing it?
Okay, they don't know. They're trying to make it...
Nobody knows. Have you ever seen a map? Maps don't exist. You can't tell. Nobody knows. Everybody's dead.
But this has been going on forever. Obviously, Russia...
It's been going on forever. Jesus Christ. Can you imagine this motherfucker during World War II?
...has underperformed. Everyone thought this...
Or Vietnam, for that fucking matter?
...would be over in 2 weeks. But
everybody thought it would be over in 2 weeks. Was that what Putin told your fucking dad?
we're sending billions upon billions of dollars there to keep this thing going. And
no, we're sending billions and billions of dollars to stop this.
As long as they're doing that, and I imagine as long as people are grifting off of this and making their billions and stealing whatever it is, and, we see the Taliban's now selling our vehicles that we left there of the billions in equipment there to Russia so they can use it against Ukraine, who we're
Good luck with that.
supporting in this proxy war. When does it end?
Look at him. We're supporting in this proxy war. Are we supposed to support the other side in a proxy war? Are we supposed to, if it's a proxy war, they're there's their opponent, they're an adversary. So
when do people in Russia say, hey, we're fighting the U.S. at this point and escalate? Because that's...
And yes, hey, we're fighting the U.S. at this point. We don't want to do that. They're the only ones with any money. It's time to kill Putin.
What I'm worried about. This stuff should be...
Yeah, that's what you're worried about. This should be over, okay? War should be like a fucking app, okay? I've watched movies, okay?
Over stat. Like right...
Stat. This war should be over stat. If you want any more evidence that Russia is fucked and they're hanging on by their fucking fingernails and they don't actually have the nuclear capacity to fight back or destroy the world the way they say they do, it's because it's the talking points filtering through fuckheads like this are getting so much more desperate. Stat.
When does it end?
It ends when Russia gets the fuck out of Ukraine. And of course, gives back the hostages that they took. The tens of thousands of Ukrainians, children especially.
When do people in Russia say, hey, we're fighting the U.S. at this point and escalate? Because that's what I'm worried about. This stuff should be over stat.
Like words that mean stop.
Right now. And if...
let me know in the morning if it is...
we had competent people in government, it could happen. If Trump was there, this would have never happened to
right, because they would have just taken it in 2 weeks. That was the point.
begin with. But since
yeah, it wouldn't have been a war. They would have never had a chance because we would have never backed them because he basically told Russia, go for it.
he's not, maybe you want to bring in someone who actually understands negotiation, someone who actually understands how to do these things.
Yeah, but Jimmy Carter's an old man, and he doesn't need this kind of shit, and the Russians will probably spray poison in his face.
Someone who actually stopped or didn't have Russia invade, unlike all the prior presidents and Joe Biden, their neighboring nations.
They stayed there during the entire during the entirety of Trump's presidency. Trump at no point, by the way, went, you guys shouldn't have invaded during the Obama presidency, and that shit ends. Get the fuck out of here. Of course not. He had his mouth full.
Why don't we bring that back? And maybe we could end this nonsense once and for all. Unfortunately, we're led by incompetence, so it won't happen. But you heard it here first, guys. Trump's going to be right yet again.
No, he won't be, by the way, for the record. Hold on. Cancel. Then, let's see. One little grab of this one. That was relatively short, so I'm not going to grab all of this because I just want to see Greg be miserable for a second. Is that okay? By the way, you're watching House Sparks Megaworldwide. Give a thumbs up. Go ahead. I mean, who walks you through this stuff? Oh, wait. All right, here we go. He's already upset. We all watched the tape. You guys watched the tape. Body cam scam.
Body cam scam. You know, these things, these police body cameras, they were supposed to make us more safe. The public, right? Greater accountability, enhance safety.
Right.
They're playing a game with us.
Uh-oh. Da-da-da. This is all a big reality TV show. That's right. They got these cops. These cops are wearing these body cams so they can, they're like little cameramen for the DNC.
Aren't they? When the footage
No, I don't know what you're fucking talking about.
is released, which footage is released, how it's released.
I think ultimately to the public. What do you mean how it's released? What are they supposed to do? Project it onto the side of a fucking building?
Something's very odd.
No, you're just an easily confused dunderhead.
Now, first up, the situation in Memphis looks totally, totally horrendous to me.
It is. It doesn't look horrendous. It is fucking horrendous. But, of course, this fuckhead wants to play the whole video.
The police were unresisting in a moment. I don't think we're getting.
I'm not going to.
We saw the body. Looks like Paul Pelosi was. And it's interesting.
By the way, I'm just not letting him. I have no interest in what that fucker says about the Memphis tape. It's cut and dry. Fuck him.
It's very interesting.
Isn't it?
Looks like Paul Pelosi was hit in the head.
Oh my God. What gave you that idea?
By a maniac. I still have some questions, and let's go through it, shall we?
Yeah, I mean, you're a young man, and these feelings can be confusing, Greg. And sometimes if you get an erection, there's a myriad of reasons.
The police show up at the house after
half an erection
being called by Mr. Pelosi at 2:30 in the morning. Watch.
We watched this, by the way. Two cops, by the way.
Yeah. Fucking said 2620, right? No, 2640. Oh, 40. Yeah, it literally said in there.
The door is opening. Here's discrepancy number one. There are discrepancies in life, but I did read in the court documents that the police opened the door. Yeah, two officers opened the door to see the foyer of the Pelosi
Who gives a shit?
residence. That did not happen. I don't know why they...
Oh, I'm taking crazy soup. I don't know what's going on. The door's open. It wasn't open before. I mean, is the place fucking haunted?
Make such a basic mistake in such a high-profile case.
Yes, I did, Water Goddess, by the way. Water Goddess.
So the door is open. It's a little bit unclear who's opening it. DePape?
No, it isn't. He's got the hammer. DePep has his hands on both. Basically, Paul Pelosi reaches, opens the door, and does like this, and it opens. It just swings wide.
Who's in there, or Paul Pelosi? But the door,
or he's psychic. It could have been psychic powers.
Is open. Watch.
Hi. How you doing?
How are you?
What's going on, man?
Everything's good.
Hi.
Notice that Paul Pelosi is smiling. It's just a little bit odd, isn't it? I mean,
no, because he's been managing this motherfucker for an hour.
Hi. I don't get that, but then again, it's a confusing situation. It's 2:30 in the morning. You may have a maniac. Who knows?
You may have a maniac. Who knows? Are you? The dude just called it. And by the way, this video came out after DePape called local news in San Francisco and says he's sorry he didn't kill more people and doubled down on his maggot bullshit.
And take a look at this. Paul Pelosi has a drink in his hand. It seems to be ice and lime in that drink. So one hand he's holding onto the hammer, and the other.
If you don't have a weapon in the house and a guy has a hammer and you're an old man, what are your options for weapons in the house? A remote control? A fucking lamp? A glass?
On the other hand, he's holding on to a drink. That's a little bit odd, but this is pretty severe what happens next.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, getting hit in the head by a fucking maggot is thirsty work.
Drop the hammer.
Nope.
Hey.
What is going on right
I'm
now?
not getting an answer on call.
Yeah, there you go. That's a Trump fan striking somebody with a hammer. And by the way, we've seen this shit. Hold on.
Wow, that was pretty intense.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, it's exactly what they said fucking happened, you cretin.
We didn't see the axe or the hammer actually hit the.
Oh, so yeah, it was all, that's how they're hiding from, they're fucking with you with these body cams. Normally a criminal will do it right out in the open.
Head, but we're told it hit the head.
We're told it hit the head. He had brain surgery.
That attack, that was pretty aggressive, right?
Yes.
There are some odd factors here, though. I mentioned the drink. I mentioned, well, there's ice on the ground. Afterwards, we see ice all over the place. Now, keep in mind, they said Pelosi
Yeah, he dropped the glass he was carrying.
was sleeping when DePape got there, so he would have had to have made that drink after the guy got there. That's kind of odd, but maybe there's an explanation. DePape himself seen loitering in a way, kind of just scoping out the area behind the house for quite some time before grabbing his hammer and just hammering away at that window.
Yeah, it's almost as if it happened exactly like they said.
Before going inside. No burglar alarms, which is strange. Now, we don't know for sure if there was a pre-existing relationship, if he knew Pelosi.
Oh, fuck you. Yes, we do. We know there was not one. He says so. Both of them say so.
Pelosi or DePape. They've been saying no, but the DePape family has raised the question. The son actually said out loud, look, do these guys know each other? It's a possibility. And the mainstream media at one point indicated that maybe the Pelosi knew DePape. Remember Miguel Almaguer, NBC News?
Yeah, the guy they broomed for making up facts.
Now, this guy did a pretty thorough and informative report, and he was promptly suspended. I'm not sure why. Nobody really.
Because what he said from whatever source he said he had or didn't have, and that's more than likely what he came in, is like, now that part I heard this detail and this detail, that detail was not
really can get
real.
The answer to that, but this is what got him in trouble.
Law enforcement officials tell us the bottom line here is this was a terrifying situation. We still don't know exactly what unfolded between Mr. Pelosi and the suspect for the 30 minutes they were alone inside that house before police arrived.
That's a good question, right?
No, it isn't. We know exactly what the fuck happened. They both tell it the same fucking way. He was on the phone with the 911 operator.
Did they get angry at this? Were they having drinks? Why was Paul Pelosi smiling? I don't know. It's a little bit weird, but you know what?
Because the guy said, don't say anything or I'll kill you, and then he started holding a hammer and he grabbed a hold of it, and then the door kicked open. I don't think that's smiling, but
These things are weird, okay? Lots of weird things
Here's a good idea. Call your fucking dad and ask him about hostage situations.
happen in life. It doesn't mean that Pelosi, whatever, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a little
Right.
bit odd.
Yeah, and what we want to do is take something odd and infer something gay about it, because that's the worst slam they can come up with. Never pass up an opportunity to be an anti-gay creep. Eh, Greg?
And did they know each other before all of this?
No.
It seems unlikely, given the axe trying to get in.
It's a hammer. It's always been a hammer. No one ever said axe. I don't know where he's putting that in. It's kind of a big deal if you're a news person to refer to an axe as a hammer or a hammer as an axe. It's kind of baseline stuff. But Greg's not a newsman. He's a brat.
Was there some sort of grievance? No, it seems unlikely.
Yes, there was. A political grievance that all maggots apparently have with Nancy fucking Pelosi.
But back to that NBC News report with Miguel Almaguer from the mainstream media. Watch this.
Investigators have previously said Pelosi did not know DePape when the 42-year-old broke into his home.
Investigators previously said that. The inference, a lot of
is that now they're saying he does know him. Like, that's why.
was made.
God.
Maybe they're not saying that now.
They are saying that now. Everyone's saying that now. It's in the affidavit. David DePape is saying that now.
Who knows? DePape
Everybody but you, fuckhead.
seems like a pretty strange guy. And his lawyer seems pretty strange, too. So this video comes out, and his lawyer says, I think it was a terrible mistake to release this evidence. And in particular, the video, releasing this footage is disrespectful to Mr. Pelosi. Quite frankly, I think that statement was disrespectful to his client, but who
What the fuck?
knows? Look, after this went down, you know what they did. They politicized it.
They did. The motherfucker showed up to kill Nancy Pelosi. It was a political attack. All right, fuck this dude. At a certain point, I'm over time anyways. It's just classic Greg Kelly horseshit. Ugh. And you know, I have to say, if I may, that it's kind of nice watching this fucking creep hang on so tightly to his bullshit theory, even though it fails right before his eyes. We watched, Glenn Beck walk his shit back, and, low bar as it is, he's more of a man than Greg Kelly will ever be because he actually called it out. He was evasive and he excused himself all over the fucking place, but he admitted the reality of the situation. Greg is fucking incapable of that because he's a fucking wuss. But he's like, the evidence shows up and he's like, he has this womp womp moment, and all of a sudden it's not his fucking, it doesn't matter. Like, oy. Real quick, if I may, and hi chat room, let me bring you guys up for a second in here. Hi. Understood. Fear not. Hi, everybody. There you go. I'll scroll you down. Sorry. Morning Joe called him out this morning. I called out Greg Kelly this morning. Fuck. The stuff going on in Iran today, and the last 24 hours is, yeah, here it is. Okay, here's time. This is the final actual thing. Mossad is saying that, Israel is saying that Mossad carried out Iran defense facility strikes for Israel's own interests. U.S. officials tell the New York Times drone attack was not aimed at stopping weapons exports to Russia. Bennett says he intensified Iran strikes after plot to kill Israelis in Turkey and Cyprus. The drone attack on the defense facility in the Iranian city of Isfahan was carried out by Israel to protect its own security interests and not to prevent weapons exports to Russia, according to a New York Times report on Sunday. The Saturday strike was carried out by the Mossad intelligence agency. The report noted that Isfahan is a hub for Tehran's missile industry and is where the Shahab medium-range missile, which was range capable of hitting Israel, is assembled. Iran has yet to deliver missiles to Russia, despite reports since October it plans to do so, but Tehran has been supplying the Shahed 136 suicide drones for the Kremlin's use in the nearly year-long invasion of Ukraine. The kamikaze drones have been deployed, blah, 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 we know this. An Iranian Defense Ministry statement described 3 drones being launched at the facility on Saturday, with 2 of them successfully shot down, a third apparently making it through the strike to the building, causing minor damage to its roof and wounding no one. Yeah, that's not what the pictures show, but fine. Let's see. Later, the drones were quadcopters equipped with bomblets. Quadcopters, which get their name from having 4 rotors. Okay, blah, blah, blah. The drones have been used in past attacks. U.S. officials said on Sunday that Washington was not behind the strike. Blah, blah, blah. So that was the general thought. Like, Israel did this for themselves. And the idea was, did they do it because they were, Pakistan got a church bombed, killing a bunch? Yeah. yeah, so Mossad pulled this off, but it's abundantly clear that they didn't ask permission of the United States to do it. They in no way was it a coordinated attack. They don't even want to say that. Oh, Cindy Williams passed away. Oh, that's sad. Sorry to hear that. Then this is the kind of standard by which, here you go. This is Kyle Kalinske. Kyle is like I don't know, like the EDM version of Jimmy Dore. Kyle's a bit of a broken clock. He can be right twice a day, but the rest of his stuff is just kind of like, he was one of the, like he's all over the map, and like the ignorance is just terrifying at times. But he's got a huge following. I mean, he's got almost 1 million subscribers and a brand new dye job, so good for him. And he's got his is it the ear pierce is recent? I don't know. Is he? We'll see. Anyways, this is if I may, this is his take on Israel on their own striking Iran and admitting to it and saying our intelligence service carried it out because of attacks on our citizens, and that the U.S. isn't telling us to do it. And by the way, didn't primarily focusing on the missile factory that attacks them. But here you go.
Everybody's paying attention to what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. We just got World War III watch from a totally different direction. So,
also, the idea that that makes it World War III when tacit fights like this have been happening in the Middle East forever is absurd. Is it like literally strikes like the 6-Day War happened fucking during the Cold War, when everybody was like, we're this close to World War III.
So, Wall Street Journal is reporting that
everything's fucking World War III
now. Strikes hit 2 locations in Iran.
I'd like to say, by the way, who is he? Look who he's the tweet that he holds up. Is it
totally
David Frum?
Different direction. So,
yeah, David fucking Frum. Like, definitely a never Trumper, but not exactly like, what? This is where you got the news from? This is what showed up in your feed, I suppose?
Wall Street Journal.
He doesn't follow him, but he's sourcing him. Whatever.
Is reporting that strikes hit 2 locations in Iran, including a weapons factory in Isfahan and an oil refinery near Tabriz.
Also, they hit a caravan of and the Iranian Royal Guard. Their headquarters were leveled, and they blew up a caravan of those people either leaving the place or on their way someplace. That was after this.
Yeah, that's not good. So Iran was attacked. That's the gist of what happened here. Somebody bombed Iran. So article.
It must have been us.
From The Guardian here says drone attacks target Iranian defense factory as global tensions rise. Isfahan blast came as refinery fire broke out in country's northwest and 5.9 magnitude quake hit. Oh, so throw a little earthquake in just as a little cherry on top here.
Yes, obviously a DARPA mission, probably U.S., probably a Jewish space laser.
If things weren't bad enough. Bomb-carrying drones targeted an Iranian defense factory in the central city of Isfahan overnight, authorities have said, causing damage at the plant amid heightened regional and international tensions engulfing the Islamic Republic. The Iranian Defense Ministry offered no information on who it suspected carried out the attack, which came as a refinery fire separately broke out in the country's northwest and a 5.9 magnitude earthquake struck nearby, killing 3 people. Tehran has been targeted by suspected Israeli drone strikes amid a shadow war with its Middle Eastern rival as its nuclear deal with world powers collapsed. Meanwhile, tensions remain high with neighboring Azerbaijan after a gunman attacked the country's embassy in Tehran. Jesus. Killing its security.
This is all new to him?
Chief and wounding 2 others.
Because I guess he live streams or whatever, but doesn't he set these stories up ahead of time?
Details on the Isfahan attack, which happened at about 11:30 p.m. on Saturday, remain scarce. A defense ministry statement fully shot. the ministry said. Mobile
Wait.
home T-Air building. Since this article came out, we already have verification from the U.S. where they were kind of like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and say it was, Israel. Israel's behind this one. I'm not, I mean, it is Israel.
By the way, I don't know if this is just like the bro conversation that he thinks actually happens, but that's unnamed officials were cited in stories. This is what he's talking about, saying they believed it to be Israel. They're sure it was Israel.
So there's an admission. Hey,
Was not an admission. It was not an overt admission. There are people in whoever the New York Times sourced said they believe it to be Israel. It's that simple, like any other news story.
that's what's going on here. Now, I don't know if Israel said anything yet, but this is, I mean, there's been
By the way, I just showed you the article. Since then, they have said.
previous instances of Israel doing similar things. So
Like the 6-Day War.
I love how, like, a lot
Here comes the wind up.
of the U.S. and a lot of our allies, we will just flat out do an act of war and then act like, who, me, bro? I don't even do. Yeah. See, I didn't even do anything wrong. You might think I did.
Yeah. Russia attacks Ukraine, biggest land war in Europe since World War II. And this is a habit of the United States and our allies. Why did Ukraine invade their own country and drive out? Who's that guy? This is Kyle Kalinske. This is a guy who's secular talk. He's a big lefty talker. He's got a big audience. Been around for quite some time. He did the Justice Democrats with Cenk and had to be there when they had to kick Cenk out for being gross. And the idea is, like, again, this is all about, like, whatever it is, it'll boil down to the CIA did this. It's the same Jimmy Dore bullshit. It's just he's just, I don't know if this is just, like I said, he's the EDM Jimmy Dore these days.
Something wrong, but I just did this is some normal stuff and things. Like, this isn't even a thing, bro. It's like I didn't even do anything, basically.
And that's not at all what the U.S. response was. Obviously, they were holding their criticism until they found out who it was, and they've been talking to Israel about this. But Israel came out and frankly said, we did it for our own security because they killed these people and they did this. It has nothing to do with the U.S. and Ukraine, none of that business.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, how do you square that circle in your own mind?
By looking at Russia and China and what the Russians do in Ukraine and what the Chinese are doing in Xinjiang and in other regions, and the debt slavery they have Africa and parts of the Middle East in. Like that.
This is like a wanton act of aggression here.
Or a response to Iran backing terrorists that are attacking them and back again. I love how people love to, especially in the Middle East, which has been just on fire for fucking ever, that everybody wants to come in and needle drop wherever they think shit started, and they can be right from this point on.
Can't do this, because if you flip the roles, if Iran goes, to Tel Aviv and just bombs a weapons facility, how do you think Israel's going to react? They're going to go to high alert. They're going to say this is World War III. They're going to scramble the fighter jets. They're going to get the ground troops ready.
No, they'll shoot it out of the sky because of the Iron Dome. More than likely. But also, they would be at war with Iran, which is why Iran hasn't done it. The problem is they're building up to the point where Israel is worried they will get to that point. So they just decided after they'd killed, individuals and Israeli citizens that they would hit that.
Ready. They're going to call Washington cry. World War III has begun.
I don't know what that means. I think that's one of Lee Camp's bits he's doing now.
We do it to them, and we're like,
we do it to them. Israel didn't inform the United States. And I think he believes, like many people, no doubt, that we share intelligence and because we're allies. But that doesn't mean they're going to tip us off to it, because quite frankly, there are still a lot of Trumpies throughout the military establishment that are favorable to Israel on a greater scale and on a lesser scale, and who might tell the wrong person even if they just blab to their installed Russian wife.
Beautiful day outside, isn't it, boys? Yeah. We weren't even doing anything weird or wrong. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know what you're talking about, bro. I mean, it's incredible because this reminds me of what the U.S. did to General Soleimani. You guys remember?
Yeah, poor General Soleimani. Okay, Soleimani, by the way, you'll recall there was a lot of outrage in the United States when Trump did a strike on him just to be fucking macho. Guy was on it. He was in Iraq on his way to an airport, not engaged in military activity. Just decided to hit him. Just decided, fuck this guy. He's in this particular territory. We know where he is, and decided to kill him. He's a general in an army attached to a nation state, not a rogue terrorist. You know, and the idea that the Iranian Royal Guard or whatever is a terrorist organization has long been debated, and of course it's more the Iranian government that finances terror throughout the Middle East in their constant proxy wars with Saudi Arabia, quite frankly.
Remember this? We murked General Soleimani.
I don't know what murked means. He was hit with a drone strike. We didn't send in fucking Steven Seagal and a bunch of dudes with those little throat adapters that allow you to talk. We didn't murk him. He was blown up from the sky.
This is a guy who was on the ground, Iranian commander, fighting
like every other human being who's on the ground, all the non-flying humans in the world.
ISIS, and we murked him. We murked him.
We murked him. I don't know what that means. We did not murk him. Again, he was hit with a missile. Also, on the ground fighting ISIS, no, he wasn't. We have a tacit agreement against, ISIS in particular with both like the Syrians and the Russians and the Turks and everybody, because ISIS is a particular part, level of bad. But he was not even Trump was not in this position where an enemy of my enemy is my friend.
And then Trump did that and acted like there's no such thing as blowback or consequences for our actions. And then
yeah, but that's Trump. The rest of us were like, that's fucking stupid.
Of course, in turn, Iran started firing on some U.S. military bases. There was some weird
or some shit. I don't know. They hit something through things, and then there was a thing, and then
tit for tat going on back and
yeah, we killed that guy, and then World War 2.5 beta started.
It's like, of course this was going to happen. You absolute ghouls. You absolute total stupid people. You morons.
Okay, that's clear. Again, most Americans that I know reacted to Trump doing this like, what the fuck are you doing?
And so Israel does this. By the way, look, keep it real. I don't think Israel does this without a little bit of a wink and a nod from America. Like, hey, man, it's your business. You do your thing. Because a U.S. president could keep an Israeli prime minister in check just to be.
Yeah. Everybody's just a slave to the CIA, and including the president. So.
Be like, hey, dog.
Yeah, that's how he says. A dog. Fucking.
Reel it in a little bit. You're getting a little bit out over your skis. And remember, we prop your ass up. I mean, the Israeli military is as powerful as it is because of backing from the United States. Because of our money. We give them Iron Dome, for example. So.
No, we don't. They built that. We helped fund them. But they built the Iron Dome. That's just silly. Also, a dog. Secondly, the idea that by the way, he knows full well, he has to, that if we didn't back Israel, they would have been wiped off the fucking earth after World War II, just as they'd gotten off the ground. The minute Israel was established as a state, if the United States and the UK and most of Europe didn't back them and protect them for a good long while, they would have been destroyed mercilessly a long time ago.
I mean, Biden was probably half asleep, all Xanaxed out, and he's like,
Why does he need a Xanax if he's half asleep if he's old? This is an old joke. This is one of these he's old and I don't know where anything is.
Oh, what? Okay, Iran is bad. You want to take the weapons, then get the weapons.
Yeah, I don't. Again, sweet. This was apparently worth posting.
And here we are.
Yes, here we are. Where are we? We're here. It's Monday. It's 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock on a Monday. Yeah, here we are. Where are you?
Look, this is not good, man. This is not good. Because now what?
Officially. Kyle Kalinske. Iran thing, not good. Could lead to bad stuff. But who knows, shrug.
Now what? Now what's Iran going to do? Are they just going to sit there and take it? They're just going to sit there and bleed? Or are they going to say, all right, well, we got to do something in return?
Yes, and I'm sure Israel hasn't thought any of that through.
And then you're off to the races yet again. So
yeah, it's almost like the Middle East is a constant spiral of violence between multiple countries.
as we have Ukraine and Russia as a major issue happening.
It's a major issue. This is anybody who's apologizing for Russia will call it the situation in Ukraine or the issue.
Major issue on the world stage.
Yeah, it's an issue on the world stage. Somebody forgot their lines. The props are all missing.
As we have that already.
Yeah, dude, I can't think about two things I know nothing about at once. Bro.
Now we also get this.
Yeah, like how am I supposed to even, like, I gotta read or something?
Yeah, why not attack North Korea for shits and giggles while we're at it, by the way? Just throw that in there. Why not? Why not?
Who? Us or Israel? I don't think Israel has a yeah, I don't really have a dog in that fight.
I mean, we're going out with a bang here.
Oh, okay, all right. So it's basically nuclear war. It's just been declared or whatever. Apparently this is a video from the future.
We're like trying to make it Russian roulette for the apocalypse is what we're going for. That's what we're trying for. So anyway,
yeah. So in case you missed this, if I can sum up, because Israel retaliated against Iran for murdering its citizens in Turkey and other places, according to Israel. But I mean, who are you going to believe? The doomsday clock moved forward because he thinks so, and that because he knows very little about anything that happened before this happened between those two countries, except for they don't like each other, that means brand new reality. So therefore, that'll trigger nuclear war, and we're all going to die. And also random. It's random. That's the key in this, because. And I want you to watch out. This isn't special to Kyle here, although he is very special. You will see a lot of people act like circumstances are devoid of meaning. Glenn Beck does this all the time. What is this about? It makes no sense. There's a specific reason why, they're talking to ignorant people, but there's also another reason why people make up, especially if they're pro-Russia in this situation, or in this case, I guess, anti-Israel, if he's rooting for Soleimani, that by saying none of this makes sense and it's out of the blue and this is crazy and it's just, the idea is that the only answer then, if it's out of the blue and there's no context whatsoever, is that it must be that those people, the Ukrainians, for example, were murderous and brought this on themselves. Because this makes no sense. Not that it's just an insane tactic from Russia for the goals that it purports to have. It's just, and it's grotesque in its genocidal nature. It's not just that. It's beyond that. It's that the more I can make you think things are senseless, then the people involved have no sense, and therefore they're animals. It is a form of effectively political dehumanization. And the doom sprayers are using this like, man, they're endangering us, and I don't even know what they want. Like, and the intentional ignoring of the human lives that are being lost in Ukraine over this, and that the Russians are doing it so wantonly, and the Russian lives that they are just throwing into a fucking meat grinder, shows a level of detachment that I think is kind of present in the appearance here. This is I don't know what the shift was. He seemed kind of, I don't know, maybe he's upscaling. Maybe he's back on the market, ladies. But this is he posted this 2 hours ago. It has 12,000 views. And you're right. Nothing was said. Couple of pieces of information read from a website. No opinion other than, what the hell? And I'm just going to tell you straight out that I hope that through this show that some of what I give you is, well, in fact, this the hell. That not being aware of the details in something, not being aware of the history of something, not being aware of, by the way, even places where the history does not pertain to the current reality. It's used to mask the current conflict by going, this has been going on forever, that kind of stuff. That somehow that kind of washes everything and goes, well, none of this means anything. It's just Hatfield McCoy shit. And so we can't find, there's no interrupt point where we can start moving in a direction towards stability, or that it's even a positive. Everybody down there is just nuts. And that, especially around the Russia-Ukraine war. And you see a bunch of this on the faux-gressives and the overlap between the faux-gressives and the Trumpies and Don Jr. and that. And you'll see that their talking points are like, what? I mean, there's very little difference, for the record, between the content of this video and the content of this video. They're almost identical in their attitude towards the circumstance. I challenge you to find any real difference between those two people in their take on the Ukraine war, or quite frankly, even on, Israeli-Palestinian politics or anything else for that matter. My big fat hipster tanky wedding. Seriously. Maybe you need to dig up a Miami Vice look. I do have one of those old linen suits somewhere. I don't think it fits me anymore because my shoulders have gotten bigger. But I wanted to point those two clips out at the end of the show because I've gone over anyways, as a way of helping you recognize that one of the things people will do is drop things like this has gone too far. It's, it makes no sense when by the details it absolutely does. Sensible people sitting there will go, this is different from what you're talking about. I understand that you're categorizing, but you're doing it from a distance and you're not paying attention to the people on the ground, the individuals, the circumstances actually going on. And when you do that, it can be accidental because you can't be bothered and you're overwhelmed. But when you're in the media, and that's what these fuckers are, they're in the media. They are selling themselves as philosophical and political proselytizers who know the issues and are authorities as such because of it. They are actively presenting themselves as authorities. And when people do that and their message is, the reason they're doing that is because the side they're on is losing, and the side that's winning, they want to make it look either futile, worthless, or make sure that you don't know whether you're on the right side if you're on the opposite side from that. That you start questioning where you are. It's a subtle propaganda technique. People use that as a big word, but individuals do it too, to fucking butter their bread on both sides. And Merc was popular in the early 2000s. It was. I think he's talking about a merkin. I think they just a pubic toupee. Apparently Trump tried to put it's gaslighting essentially. But it's more subtle than that. It's almost like I'm with you in how crazy things are. Gaslighting specifically is telling you something that's the opposite of what you're seeing. These guys are like, they're sucking the meaning out of something very important. Something that's involving real lives and real circumstances, and they're making it, they're shrugging it off. And they don't do that when they're doing well. They do it when the side that there is, Merc is slang for murder. I'm sorry, I don't speak douchebag. I guess like mercenary, Merc, M-E-R-C. Is that what you're saying? That's what I mean, is that there's a difference. We drone strike the dude. But anyways, the point is that you're going to see a lot more of that. This is all like when Don Jr. was going, this has to end stat. Same shit. Same shit as Kyle Kalinske saying we got shoved into World War III. Yeah. So be on the lookout is all I'm saying. Be on the lookout for people where there are details. And Greg Kelly's bit about the Pelosi thing where he's like, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense when it absolutely fucking makes sense. Between what you know and what you can't possibly know, reality exists without your permission. And because there are things you can't possibly know because you're not in the circumstance, and there are things that you know that obviously refute any bullshit theories you come up with, then clearly you are manipulating the truth. And it's something I'm seeing a lot in right-wing media and around the Scott Ritters of the world. And I'm going to look forward to discussing this with Philip Ittner on Thursday or on Wednesday. But so much of this is people losing their grasp on not only whatever their philosophy is, like that they're losing, they're on the losing side of something, or their argument is fading, or being outnumbered, or people are just fucking, quite frankly, getting bored with it like they are with Trump. It's also, I don't know that they're attached to it. I think they're attached to some sort of material wealth that they might get from proselytizing it, but they've lost interest in trying to sell it hard. Because if you want to be a true flim-flam, beat the reads Alex Jones, you cover your table in paper, you pull details out of fucking nowhere. He doesn't do it anymore either. He's totally fucking lazy. But the illusion of having all that paper laid out makes it sound like he's been doing the reading, which he fucking, or look like he's been doing the reading, which he has not. But when you're just in the business of cranking out bullshit like these dipshits, which is the exact same message in regard to Ukraine, in regard to Israel, though Don Jr., I think, would just pretend to be on Israel's side because that's a thing in right-wing politics without even knowing what the fuck he's talking about, ever. Shivani Lane is saying, Paul Pelosi actually was handling the situation quite well. He was trying to de-escalate so that no one would get hurt. He's a Catholic after all. Yeah, he did amazingly well. And he had the drink in his hand because he had a glass, and he picked it. Like, by the way, raise your hand in the chat on our way out. I gotta get off and go someplace at some point. But let me know if anybody puts a drink on your nightstand when you go to bed. You get a glass of water. Anybody have a glass of water at night? Like ice water when you go to bed? In case you need a drink in the middle of the night so you don't have to get up. You put more ice than water in it. Anybody do that? Yeah. I've never had a glass of water. Well, yes. I mean, there you have it. Gatorade, right, exactly. Only when you're sick? Sure. Wife does. Yeah, my girlfriend always has a glass of water by the bed, ice water, and I will get her a fresh ice water before I go to bed. And guess what? There's still ice in it in the morning, much less at 2 o'clock in the morning if you went to bed at 11 or midnight or fucking 1 o'clock, or you just got it and then, or he went down to the kitchen when the smashing was happening, and ran back upstairs looking for his cell phone when the dude fucking ran in. Whatever. Does scotch count? Sure it does. But the point I'm trying to make is holding that glass in your hand, if you were like, I have nothing that isn't plastic around me, that's the only thing that might be a weapon at some point. There you go. Yep. I have a CPAC, so I wake up dry off, and there you go. Yeah, exactly. So the idea that he has like a glass of water and ice, and he's like, well, I just got this or whatever. So what are you going to do to give yourself a second? The dude's not a ninja. He's fat. He's lazy. He's complaining about being wheezy. Maybe you're thinking, if I can throw the drink in his face and then run down the stairs, So you're just trying to be nice, and you're talking to him, and you're filling up your water glass in the sink, and maybe you're saying, hey, can I get you a glass of water, something like that, because the Capitol Police are going to be here. This is going to be a thing, and as he managed to get him from upstairs to downstairs and to the front door before the dude struck him. And again, this, as far as we know, DePape had never attacked anyone physically before, except he may have done it sexually, but he wasn't a fighter per se. So the idea that it would take a lot for him to work up to doing it. It is not that easy to work the nerve up to attack a human being, especially if they're not your primary target and they're talking to you like a nice person. Yeah, he was trying to keep the attacker calm. He did an amazing fucking job. But what Greg Kelly was doing is not it's a natural bullshit artist technique, but you can watch him trying to take details that are devoid, that are real, that eliminate all of his conspiracies and make them devoid of meaning. Obviously, that's crazy. Maybe he's a maniac. I don't know. Maybe they didn't know each other. Maybe they did know each other. Like a gish gallop of bullshit. And then take little details that do not change anything about it and blow them up so that they can be perceived, as refuting the idea, just so you can call it into doubt. The same thing is true of Kalinsky and Don Jr. in those clips. Inflate details that are meaningless, your own opinion about U.S.-Israel relations and how bro-y it is, or guys, what are they going to ask for? Nukes next? Like you extrapolate this fantasy beyond the end of it, and instead of dealing with the reality in front of you, which is they just got tanks because they're fighting a land war, and it's specific to the country they're fighting has more people than they do, so tanks, will even out the number between the amount of humans that allegedly Russia is saying openly they're going to attack Ukraine with. Will they do it? Could they do it? That's another conversation. But at least the sheer numbers that Russia are putting out, tanks will answer that. 1-to-1 is humans. They'll, whatever. 40 men to a tank, whatever, that's the even, how it evens it out. That's how you do it. Israel already has nukes from France. Yes, they've had it forever. So by acting like, what the hell? When it absolutely materially, strategically makes sense. Yeah. Have you heard the interrogation of David? Yes, I have. And I've heard the 911 call, and I've seen the transcripts of both, and the dude is a fucking angry, violent maggot who was, by the way, might have even had left-leaning tendencies for a while, and then drifted right into Trump's lap via people like Jimmy Dore. It's why he cites him. So, yeah. Did I catch the bombing in Pakistan? No. Saha, I saw the news about it, but I haven't had a chance to dive into it. It's fair. There's a lot going on there right now. So I wouldn't want to go into it unless I have actually studied it some specifically. Yeah, DePap is one of them. He's a maggot. He's a proud one. And he's getting even prouder about it by the day, which is going to be a problem, as much of a problem as because a Democrat at some point is going to cite him in their conversation on one of these committees about Republicans who were okay with Jan 6 violence, that kind of stuff. Here illegally. That's the thing. He lived in his ex's garage. She was very left-leaning, apparently, but she's in jail for sex with a minor. Good people. Totally lefty kind of stuff. Why does Marjorie Taylor Greene look like a caveman? I think she looks like a cave woman, but sure, I see what you mean. If you're angry and filled with loathing, look within. I agree. Clear that shit out. Anyways, the important thing is that just to tell you guys before I head out and go eat something, because I have not eaten all day because I was reading and doing computer shit. It's one of those days where you're like, I have not eaten anything. Okay. I hope, and it is my intention, that when I'm talking to you guys, when I'm doing this show, that when we dive into these issues, as much fun as we have, because I'm goofing around and saying and making names and calling people names and doing characters and whatever the fuck, that ultimately you have a little more detail than less, or that I haven't, I'm certainly not going to fabricate anything for you to make you feel better about stuff. And I know that people get mad at me sometimes when I call out stuff on the material level, But I think it's important in context with all the other things in your life, because eventually this is how we get to people going, it's just too, the whole world's crazy. Once people get to that, that's when they don't vote. That's when they drop out. And in that having it be out of your fucking hands is the tough part. I don't want to do that. Anyways, love you guys. Talk to you later. Thanks so much. Have a great night. See you tomorrow. Okay. Love you. Bye.